Are you a demon? No, but I have demonic energy. Oh, I may be a demon, I don't know.
Like I told y'all earlier, you motherfuckers enter the rapture. And if ain't nobody flying up to heaven right now, obviously all y'all motherfuckers going to hell.
I got bored, so you know what I did? I went and dropped 4.5 million on the house. You know why? Cause scat.
Rap is no stranger to crazy situations and stories, but sometimes things happen that are so crazy that even rap fans get surprised. Hi, I'm Rashad Bashir, and this is rap's wildest stories.
Ontario teen arrested after allegedly stealing $46 million in cryptocurrency.
Suspect, a 19-year-old from the UK, allegedly hacked into websites and cloud-based accounts, illegally stealing unreleased songs.
Weird ass that keep selling songs for $10,000 and ruining it for everybody else and letting us not put a full plan together, that's lame as fuck.
It's bad enough these stupid ass kids leak stages and set lists and leak music because no one can wait anymore, and they steal and invade privacy and sell it.
These days, leaks in rap are everywhere. So much so that when artists will play unreleased music, their fans sometimes already know the song. But did you know it's $1 million industry? In fact, the Juice WRLD leak community alone has spent over $600,000 on his music in only a couple of years. What's even crazier is the fact that the people behind your favorite artist's leaks are teenagers, who also happen to be some of the most wanted online hackers in their countries. So who have they targeted, how are they doing this, and where have they ended up? Hi, my name is Rashad Bashir, and this is the disturbing world of rap leaks. On April 15th of 2024, hackers hacked Lil Durk, Iggy Azalea, Tyga, Lucki, and many more's SoundCloud, where they collectively posted a song titled #FreeKingBob. It may seem random, but this was no accident. In support of a man named Noah Urban, who was locked up and facing some pretty serious charges. Earlier that year, January 9th, 2024, Noah Urban was arrested after he allegedly stole at least $800,000 in a massive cryptocurrency theft. He was indicted on a total of 14 counts, and the charges were pretty serious. According to the indictment, Urban, along with his other conspirators, had unlawfully obtained victims' personal identifying information and used it to fraudulently access their virtual currency addresses using a SIM swap.
Urban's charges include 8 counts of wire fraud, 1 count for conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and 5 counts of aggravated identity theft.
Flagler County man accused of stealing at least $800,000 from 5 people in a cryptocurrency scheme is expected in federal court this afternoon.
AKA, he stole a ton of crypto. But Noah Urban wasn't your average criminal. To the legal system, maybe. But on the internet, he was the notorious King Bob, a 17-year-old rap leaker.
So 19-year-old Noah Urban is also known as King Bob, which is a reference to the Minion movies. And according to multiple reports, King Bob is also a notorious music leaker,
who was able to build up a collection of over 2,000 rap leaks from some of the largest artists in the world, such as Playboi Carti, Lil Uzi Vert, Juice WRLD, Ariana Grande, and more. But despite his leak collection being very impressive, King Bob was not very well liked. In fact, he was downright hated by the leak community, who referred to him as the most annoying and obnoxious leaker on the internet. Why so? Well, Bob was extremely cocky and was just not a great person. For example, he would flex leaks that fans would never get, writing, "Nothing any of you kids say is going to change the fact that I'm rich and I have most of your grails." And like he just did, brag about how rich he was. You guys don't realize 8K is nothing to me. Peep how he spelled, guys. Y'all think I give a f about 10K? And the amount of music he had was truly impressive. I got the most music in the comm. I got thousands of grails. He'd act this way on Discord, where he'd quickly become a celebrity on leaked forums such as leak.cx, one of the most active forums for trading, buying, and selling unreleased music from popular artists. The more grails a user shares, the more their status and access on the forum grows, and King Bob's was one of the highest. But besides constantly flexing on fans and on social media, such as this picture of him wearing an iced out Rolex, or that one time when he live streamed himself losing $300,000 on YouTube and didn't even flinch, King Bob was also extremely pretentious. You see, although known as a rap leaker, King Bob claims he himself never actually sold any leaks and would refer to himself as a collector.
I'm not a leaker. Let's be clear.
So you're just an unreleased holder?
Yes. That's a term for a collector.
Making it very clear, he was not selling songs to fans, literally saying, "I already said I'm not selling stuff to you guys." And when he would, on the very rare occasion, privately sell songs, he would either fake that he was going to sell them and post a short snippet with a Minions tag over it, or sell it privately for outrageous amounts, such as upwards of 30K, or just declare that it wasn't going to because, to him, the song loses its quality if other people can hear it.
That's because these songs at the top are kind of like guarded by the people who have them, because at the end of the day, the people who are really deep into this and really have those rare grails, they don't really want the songs to leak, because when a song leaks that's super rare, that kind of devalues their own archive and their own collection, of course.
But you're probably wondering how King Bob got these leaks. Well, he would take part in something called SIM swaps.
According to his indictment, Urban and others engaged in something the FBI has referred to as SIM swapping.
Here's how they work. The hacker first gathers as much personal information they can on you through social media or by purchasing it through illicit methods. They then call your mobile carrier, pretending to be you, and tell them you lost your phone and need a new SIM card. After that, they can use two-factor authentication to log into anything they need, in this case, your email or iCloud, and get whatever files they like. Rap leakers are after music. However, sometimes they don't even need to do this. King Bob was allegedly paying employees who work at phone stores to log into customers' accounts and switch service from their SIM card to another phone. All he needed was the rapper's or close associate's phone number. After that, bribing a customer service rep was easy.
Bottom line is that I can convince the customer service rep on the phone that I am you, they'll switch the phone number over to my phone. Or maybe I pay an insider to make the switch for me. The weakest link in this whole chain is the customer service rep, and since they're usually not highly trained nor well paid, they're an easy target.
Someone this happened to was Lil Uzi Vert, whose best friend Rock was SIM swapped in 2022, which led to a bunch of Lil Uzi songs leaking that were on Rock's phone. He immediately took to his story, writing, "Don't call or text none of my phones. Dudes hacked my phone, iCloud, and Instagram on some SIM swap shit." But it was too late. Hackers had already gotten their hands on the music. But you see, King Bob didn't just fall into this stuff. He was only when he was caught. And something very interesting to me was that his past was very dark, but also eerily relatable for many young Americans. Because before he became a criminal, King Bob was just a kid playing Minecraft. Back then, he was active in the Minecraft hardcore faction scene, known for being competitive and filled with trash talking, just generally toxic. Many players would do extreme things, such as reveal personal information and launch cyber attacks on opponents, going as far as calling the police on opponents, aka swatting. And this is where King Bob would first begin to quote-unquote hang out with the wrong people. But this was just the start. You see, just like real life, flex culture in Minecraft is prevalent. It's just different. In game, users flex usernames called OGs that increase your status in the game. Unfortunately, many use this to make up for their lack of validation in real life and spend a ton of money to get them. King Bob was one of those people, except he didn't have money. So he asked his friends how they got their usernames, and that's how they introduced him to SIM swapping. Now, Noah, or King Bob, was able to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's exactly what he would do. But he wouldn't stop there. He'd get even deeper into the community. As King Bob got deeper into this life, he joined a group named Octopus, a notorious hacking group that played a significant role in multiple data breaches, as well as taking part in numerous other hacks, including a phishing campaign targeting 130 plus organizations, compromising users' credentials and two-factor authentication codes. This same group was linked to other breaches at organizations like LastPass, DoorDash, and even more. And this is where King Bob, really got his money. But not all of it. You see, despite denying ever selling a single song, King Bob had sold a handful of his leaks under different names. As seen from his indictment, King Bob went by other online names as well, such as Sosa, Elijah, Anthony Ramirez, and Gus Frings.
Now, according to his indictment, Noah Urban didn't just go by King Bob. It also says that he went by Sosa, Elijah, Anthony Ramirez, and Gustavo Fring, which any of you at home, if you watch the show Breaking Bad.
When he would sell them, he would only sell them to people he deemed as very rich themselves and through private buys, so that the songs would not get in the hands of the public. In an interview, he knew he could get away with this and said,
"If you have like a rich person who just also wants a song, and you're the only one with the supply, you can make the prices. You can like literally control them."
And he did it multiple times. For example, in 2023, King Bob agreed to sell 3 unreleased Playboi Carti girls to a rich fan named Hells. One of the tracks, Money and Drugs, rumored to have sold for a whopping $30,000, along with 2 others that sold for who knows how much. However, once again, King Bob was not being honest. He would quietly sell his music. It just wasn't directly through himself. Bob would use a middleman named Waterfalls, who's known for selling leaks from the largest artists, Kanye West, Playboi Carti, and Lil Uzi Vert, And looking back, many of those songs must have been from King Bob himself. Although denying the claims, we know it's true.
Waterfall sells the songs. Not me. Let's be clear on that.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, okay. Wink, wink.
I don't know who Waterfalls is, but if I did know him, he would be the one selling the song. Just theoretically.
Okay.
In total, King Bob made over a couple $100,000 off of selling leaks, at least. It just wasn't where the real money was coming from. But of course, all good things do come to an end, or good for Urban at least, because someone ended up snitching on him. However, he was tipped off and panicked. According to authorities, when the search warrant was issued at Urban's residence, he was in the process of downloading programs to delete his computer files. They likely were deleted, but if they weren't, they're now in the hands of the feds. So there goes hundreds of thousands of dollars of music that we as fans are not entitled to, but it's still a bummer. Of course, he was arrested and taken to jail.
Arrested on a fugitive warrant in Volusia County, and he's now facing a number of charges relating to a cryptocurrency scheme.
Afterwards, Urban would plead not guilty to all 14 charges, and it wasn't pretty. Currently, he's facing up to 20 years in federal prison for not all, but each convicted wire fraud charge, plus a minimum mandatory penalty of 2 years for the aggravated identity theft charges. What's worse, he will be in a cell until the day he's sentenced. During a detention hearing in January, a federal judge ordered Noah Urban, or King Bob, to remain in custody. The judge stated a number of reasons. For one, he was a huge flight risk as he had no fixed address, declined to answer questions about his financial situation. Of course, the judge knew he was self-supporting due to him posting pictures of his iced out Rolex on Twitter. And finally, the judge also explained that King Bob will have to serve a very long sentence if sentenced, and that there was a lot of evidence against him. For example, on November 2nd, 2022, King Bob transferred almost $300,000 worth of Ethereum over to his own crypto account. On February 16th of 2023, another almost $400,000 from one of 5 victims was transferred. Now combine that with another 5 counts of aggravated identity theft. Yeah, yikes. And it gets even worse. Rumors began to form that Bob was forced to use a government-funded lawyer to fight his case due to his family disowning him. These rumors got so big that his own father even took to the internet to explain what was really going on, writing, "I hate everything about his actions, the choice of language, etc. But I promise you there's nothing that my son could ever do that I would disown him." Seems like he has a tough road ahead of him, and hopefully he will understand the value of freedom is more important than any material object or perceived notoriety. But as he went on, King Bob's story just got more and more depressing. His father said, "He lived on his own and I saw him occasionally, but I was unaware of anything negative until I got a call from the FBI that they were about to raid his house. I was unaware of any of the music stuff until I got a collect call from the prison and Googled the aliases. As far as the federal public defender, simply a matter of money. Just to put an attorney on retainer was $125,000. At least that was the lowest I talked with, and I couldn't afford that. My son is off the charts brilliant, but still a 19-year-old kid." So things aren't looking too good for King Bob, but his future is still uncertain. In September of 2019, Adrian Kwiatkowski was arrested and taken into custody. They charged him with over 20 charges, including copyright infringement and possessing criminal property. At the time, he was just a teen who loved music. So how did he get here? Well, Adrian was not your average teenager. While most kids his age were out being normal, he was trying his hardest to hack the most popular musicians on the planet, and was quite successful. For example, he had sold a Frank Ocean song for $1,000, hacked Frank's Tumblr page, the Dropbox account of Lil Uzi Vert, Post Malone, and even Kanye West, selling those songs for God knows how much. Unfortunately for him, this wouldn't last long, as the management of several musicians began to catch wind of this and reported him to the US authorities. What was his mistake? Well, Spirdark hadn't just stuck to rappers. He was leaking mainstream artists' music, like Ed Sheeran. Leaking rappers' music is fine, not really, but many of your favorite rappers record an average of 5 to 10 songs a day. Pop stars take longer, and their singles sell much more. So the damages of an Ed Sheeran song versus a Lil Uzi throwaway are multitudes higher. Due to this, several artist managements would resort to reporting Spirdark to the authorities, who then linked the email address used to set up Spirdark's cryptocurrency account to Adrian, which helped them identify the IP address of the device used to hack one of the accounts as his home address. Then, they referred it to City of London police, who promptly arrested him.
Suspect, a 19-year-old from the UK, allegedly hacked into websites and cloud-based accounts, illegally stealing unreleased songs and selling the stolen music in exchange for cryptocurrency.
When he was arrested, they seized 1,263 songs by 89 artists and a document summarizing the deployed method for stealing them. Nice one, buddy. And they found some Bitcoin. After an almost 3-year-long trial, he was imprisoned for hacking the rappers. The judge sentenced him to 18 months in prison on multiple counts of copyright infringement and 3 charges of gaining unauthorized access to a computer and more. Afterwards, he was told that if he didn't make a payment of 101,000 euros to make up for what he stole, he would be forced to serve another 18 months in prison. According to authorities, Spirdark had seriously harmed multiple artists' careers. Not only did he cause several artists and their production companies significant financial harm, he deprived them of the ability to release their own work. This was true. Artists like Lil Uzi have said, every time something leaks, you know everything takes longer, so have fun. And even pop stars like Ariana Grande also spoke out against leaks. This is so disheartening, said Ariana Grande after one of her songs leaked. Funnily enough, by King Bob, I was going to come back and use this hook eventually. I don't know how people are still doing this, but please stop. Lil Uzi especially doesn't like hackers, who have plagued his entire career, but not as much as Trippie Redd, who's this next hacker's victim. Next up is Popkers22, who's leaked everyone from Playboi Carti to Lil Peep. What's most interesting about him is that he's had multiple run-ins with rappers. The most famous when he was on FaceTime with Trippie Redd. Trippie was very confused and mad that Popkers got his number, but
I don't know how you got this number, but listen, you won't have it again, I promise you.
Popkers just laughed and taunted him.
You sure? You sure about that? You sure about that?
No friends, no artists, no...
While Trippie continued to hurl insults.
Come on, bro.
But this wasn't for no reason. Pretty much every full-length Trippie Redd album has leaked.
This has been a big thing. Like, they have been hacking and leaking like crazy. Like, at least my last 2-3 albums, I don't know how they do it.
And Popkers definitely had a hand in this, as it's been happening for years.
Don't look up me feeding my mom and my nephews that don't have a dad. Hint is tatted on my face. Don't do that, bro. I got people I gotta feed, bro. Don't give away my music, bro.
In fact, on Trippie's most recent album, they asked him for an absurd sum of money.
I was held for ransom on my project. They wanted me to pay them $1 million because they had all my records, every single last one, all the features. Some hackers.
So he was forced to drop it.
Kind of was like, if I don't drop it now, then it's gonna be out there and they're gonna hear it regardless, and they're gonna hear the bad mix regardless. So.
But back to Popkers22, who got his leaks from hacking emails. According to Popkers, he always thought it was cool and funny when celebrities got hacked. So later, when a few of his friends showed him the ropes of how to get into regular emails and social media accounts, he went straight to hacking rappers. When he was young, he got into leak culture after ironically hearing a Trippie Redd leak. He then asked the leaker where he got them from and was shown the Rap Leaks forum. From there, he would check the forums daily, where he realized there was money being made. A lot. I found out people were buying and selling music. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Since then, he's leaked a ton of artists' music and has gotten quite a few threats, which he was asked about in an interview with Vice. He replied, "It's whatever to me. I'm still young and only 17. I don't know, I don't really take anything seriously right now. That's just me though. I have gotten in legal trouble before for computer-related actions, so I don't recommend people getting involved because eventually you'll get caught. I've seen a lot of my online friends go to jail." However, despite saying he wouldn't do it any longer, Popkers continued to leak songs. The final leaker on this list is also a teenager, who went by the name Lucki, and his charges are pretty serious. In mid-2020, a Canadian teen was arrested for the theft of over $5,000 and possession of property or proceeds of property obtained by crime. So I guess you could say he was unlucky. I know, I'm really funny. But what made this interesting was Lucki was actually a hacker in the Juice WRLD community known for leaking. Unfortunately for him, rap leaks ended up being the least of his worries.
Ontario teen arrested after allegedly stealing $46 million in cryptocurrency. Basically just what I said from one person in the US, and people are pointing fingers at a specific Juice WRLD community member and leaker and just Juice WRLD rare unreleased holder that goes by the name of Lucki. And
after the dollar amount came out, most fans were shocked.
It's crazy because with $46 million, now we know how all of these Juice WRLD leaks are getting purchased, because before, I don't know how many times we've said it on stream or in videos, like, where are all these Juice WRLD fans getting this money? Because I'm sure, or I'm certain that a lot of these fans are like, you know, still in high school, y'all may have a job.
Lucki's victims had also been SIM swapped. The result, about 46 million Canadian dollars, or about 30 million USD, was stolen in cryptocurrency from the victim. Lucki wasn't just some rap leaker. He was one of the most wanted hackers in the world. At the time, it was the largest cryptocurrency theft reported for just one person in Canada, and it was by a teenager. which meant he had teenage interests, aka rap music. That also happened to be his downfall. Through the investigation, authorities found that some of the stolen cryptocurrency was used to purchase an online username that was considered to be rare in the gaming community. This transaction led investigators to uncover the account holder of the rare username, Lucki. His future is still uncertain, but Lucki was known in the Juice WRLD community. Who's had the hardest time with leaks? Juice WRLD fans are known for paying the highest prices for his music. For instance, in 2021, it was reported that over $600K was spent on Juice WRLD leaks, and it's affected him so bad that his album was even cancelled.
Stop leaking music, yo. You weird ass.
Stop doing that.
You weird ass keep selling songs for $10,000 and ruining it for everybody else and letting us not put a full plan together. That's lame as. Before you leak it, come to me. I'll give you the $10,000, okay? Because you ruin plans for everybody else. But
even Juice WRLD ironically said he was taking precautions to stop the leaks.
You know, it's unfortunate that that shit happens, but it happens. And you just gotta prevent it from happening, even if that means carrying a hard drive.
As a listener or a fan of many of these artists, should you like leaks? Should you support them? I'll leave that up to you. But I definitely wouldn't want to be on the other side of this, facing the charges that some of these guys are. SoundCloud rappers are the most hated type of artist in the music industry. Yeah, there may have been some to eclipse the nickname and make it big in the industry, but the negative feeling attached to the word SoundCloud rapper is still there. And I mean, with all the face tats, crazy lyrics, and ridiculous personas, they kind of deserve it. However, over the years, there have been a number of SoundCloud rappers who have become insanely huge. Some fell off, and others went on to do well. But today, each one of them is in a different position in life, and that's what we're going to talk about. My name is Rashad Bashir, and this is SoundCloud Rappers. Where are they now? The first rapper on this list is someone who is practically synonymous with the term SoundCloud rapper, and who, if I didn't mention, this video would feel weird, is none other than Lil Pump, the face of SoundCloud rap. But of course, before we talk about where he is now, we have to talk about his career, and some of the controversies that foreshadowed where he ended up. Back in 2017, Lil Pump was one of the most hated figures in rap. After he skyrocketed to fame when his song Gucci Gang blew up, Pump became a household name, and it became normal for him to act stupid and pull internet stunts to promote his music. However, this didn't last as a great marketing strategy for long, because after a bit of dilly-dallying, Pump decided to diss J. Cole. Not only did it work, it got a ton of attention, so Pump decided to take it one step further and preview a song called F. J. Cole. Even though the song never dropped officially, it made headlines, because remember, Lil Pump, at the time, was the face of SoundCloud. To fans of his from the younger generation, it was just a troll, and when looking back, really just another silly marketing stunt. However, for traditional hip-hop fans, it was much more. It was a sign that the traditional values of hip-hop didn't matter, because no one would ever disrespect someone older than them, the way Lil Pump did before. The newer generation didn't care for the rules and had no appreciation for it. Furthermore, Pump also took to Twitter to explain he was better than J. Cole, saying, "I'm better than J. Cole, f all that lyrical shit." But J. Cole wasn't going to take that type of disrespect, and after waiting an entire year, he finally responded when he dropped his album KOD on the last track, 1985. 1985 sounded an alarm for all up-and-coming trendy rappers about how if they didn't wake up, they would fall off, including Pump. In it, Cole spoke about everything from how they should manage their money, the weird way they looked, and how their music would not last the test of time. When it first dropped, fans and the rappers he dissed called him a grumpy old man, but looking back, he predicted the future with incredible accuracy. Cole began the diss on Pump, or advice track I should say, by saying, "Man, they ain't even old enough to drive. I heard one of them diss me, I was surprised." Meaning he felt hypocritical telling little teenagers how to act, as Lil Pump was only 16 when he received the diss by J. Cole. But J. Cole was still surprised. However, this type of behavior from Pump and his peers was nothing new. All Cole had to do was take a quick trip to Pump's Instagram or any of his other socials where he would act like this all the time. And post funny videos disrespecting Cole.
Yo, man. J. Cole. J. Cole.
On top of that, at the time, Pump had a massive ego.
This right here is $65,000. My jeans are $1,000. My shoe, $1,300. Hold up. My belt, this right here, $500. So I think I could talk.
He was constantly flexing and had no respect for anyone, even rappers like Eminem.
Hey, Eminem, you is lame as hell. Ain't nobody listening to your old ass. You lame as.
So Cole shot back later in the song, telling Pump to stop writing trends. I heard your music and I know that rap's changed. A bunch of folks would say that's a bad thing, cause everything's commercial and it's pop now. Trap drums is the shit that's hot now. And it would turn out to become true. After Gucci Gang, Pump couldn't get a hit to stick. Get It, Butterfly Doors, Be Like Me, even his album, Harvard Dropout, could never stay or make presence on the charts. Then, Cole tried to warn Pump that his popularity and more importantly money would not last forever. I know you think this type of revenue is never ending, but I want to take a minute just to tell you that ain't true. One day, them kids that's listening gonna grow up and get too old for that shit that made you blow up. Now your show's looking light cause they don't show up, which unfortunately means the money slow up. Would these lines come true? I guess we'll find out later. But Cole didn't stop there. He thought he'd look one step further and predicted they would try and get hot again, and gave them one final piece of advice. I'm just telling you what's probably gonna happen when you rapping about the type of shit you rapping about. It's a faster route to the bottom. I wish you good luck. I'm hoping for your sake that you ain't as dumb as you look. This was a big deal at the time, and everyone in rap was talking about it. Anthony Fantano actually made a video called Will Lil Pump Take J. Cole's Advice?
Categorizing as a diss track, even though it's not really a diss track, it's more of a advice track toward people like Lil Pump and basically this new wave of trap or mumble or SoundCloud rappers, whatever you want to call them. Basically telling them how they may make more money, see longevity in the industry. It's a little patronizing, as I said in my review, but still, I feel like what Cole said on that track made sense. I feel like what Cole was saying on that track was overall good advice, and it didn't come across to me that, sure, he was looking down on them a little bit, but it didn't seem to me that he hated them or thought they were terrible, or at least didn't, in his own way, try to understand where they were coming from or why they would be making such music or feel such a way. I mean, they're young, they're impressionable, and they just kind of want to do whatever they want to do.
He spoke about the bling era and how certain artists fell under that wing of that era, and how this cycle was doomed to repeat again with Lil Pump. However, at the time, Lil Pump was a massive artist, and so was his ego. At first, Pump tried to play the victim and said,
"Wow, you get so much props. You just a 17-year-old. Lame ass."
Later, he explained he didn't care at all. He was just having fun.
Shit, I ain't worried about none of you old heads. I ain't with none of that lyrical shit. I just be having fun with what I do.
So it was clear Lil Pump completely missed the message, because J. Cole didn't even really diss Pump's style, but more so the strategy Pump was using and the way he was carrying himself. Young people who get some success are usually dumb, cocky, and develop an ego because of how much success they achieve at a young age, but they're usually not this immature. Lil Pump was very immature for his age. It was like if you gave a kid $30 million, fame, and a bunch of substances. And I mean, that's really what happened. In May of 2018, at Rolling Loud, Lil Pump danced while J. Cole was performing 1985, mocking the performance. But the moment things moved from the internet to real life, Pump changed his entire demeanor. That day at Rolling Loud, Cole came up to Pump and spoke with him, and they had a conversation. In fact, the conversation was so good that Cole decided that he'd like to record a sit-down between him and Pump. So 1 month later, they had an hour-long sit-down with J. Cole posted to YouTube. The interview was a really cool moment for rap as well. It was J. Cole understanding he couldn't stop the movement of kids and the new type of rap that was coming out, but still trying to guide Pump as a big brother.
It's Lil Pump and J. Cole talking very candidly about everything. Yeah, so Cole ain't. So clearly, Cole is probably trying to get a better understanding of him. Why are you rapping about certain things like that? What's your family life like, right? What have you been through? So I just like the open conversation between generations.
To put it simply, in the interview, Pump looks and sounds like he's in the principal's office, and J. Cole is like the teacher telling Pump that he could be great if he truly applied himself. At first, Cole gave Pump his props for being a marketing genius for his time.
When I watched your videos, when I first started seeing your videos, I was like, I'm buying into the image. I'm like, yo, this little is crazy. Like, he don't give a f. But as I started watching more of the videos, I was like, yo, this kid is smart. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure, but I was like, yo, this kid is smart. You know what I mean? Like, the more I looked into the videos, I'm like, yo, he knows more than what people might think he does. You know what I mean? Or that his image portrays. So I was like, yo, he really like, you say?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, he's like, and he's smart. You know what I mean?
And Cole broke down how the whole F Cole trend was started by Pump, and found out if it came from his fans.
Where was you at when you, I guess, came up with the fuck J. Cole shit?
I was sitting like in a room one day and I seen that shit in my comments. People were like, fuck J. Cole, fuck J. Cole.
During the interview, Pump revealed he never even realized why they were saying it, all the way to the point in the interview.
Did you know why they were saying that? Like, was you so in tune with what was happening that you knew like why they were saying that?
Yeah.
You still don't know why they were saying that?
I mean, but now I kind of get it, because like we make different type of music, so people like, I don't know, you know, they'll feel some type of way, like, oh, f this, fuck that. I don't know, bro. People just like doing that shit.
However, it was pretty obvious it was due to their different styles of music, and Pump even said he liked Cole's music.
I fuck with your shit hard.
This was a common theme in their interview. Cole made it clear nothing Pump did could faze him. He just made direct eye contact, sat him down, and unironically sunned him. Pump was just speechless.
I realized that in time.
Right, it was all trolling and shit.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it worked. Once you seen it started picking up, you had to be like, oh yeah, I'm about to run with this. Like,
wow. I know, like, that shit's gonna go. Oh, that shit. Don't keep it going. Wow.
Did you even think it would get to the point of even this, where it's like, or where we would have a conversation? Like, never.
You either
hell nah. Nah, no way. Nah, no way.
That's just crazy.
But I felt like this was the this or something like this was like the best way to like to do something, because it's like it's really a I feel like it's a divide right now, like a cultural divide. It's like a new wave of kids who like love this type of shit. You know what I mean? They young, they predominantly white, you know what I mean? Like, and they love this style of music. Then you got people that love this style of music, of hip hop, and it's like they can't understand. And by the way, I was one of them.
Overall, the interview was just a manifestation of the divide in rap. The traditional hip-hop fans who weren't going to accept the new generation, and the new generation who couldn't care less. So after a diss track, a diss back, some social media videos, and an hour-long interview, the beef was squashed.
There's all this alleged beef thing happening right now with you and J. Cole. Is that all over with? It seems like there's like a truce if there ever was a beef. Is there a beef?
I think so. I don't know.
No?
I don't know what's really going on. I don't know.
You know what's going on. TMZ talked to you the other day.
Oh, they did?
They did.
Yeah. I don't know.
And you were like, shout out to J. Cole.
Yeah, shout out to J. Cole. Get it.
Everything's
fine. I mean, I don't know, man. Y'all gotta ask J. Cole what's going on, you know?
All right, good. You got his number?
No.
Diplo text you, but you don't got J. Cole's number?
Nah, man.
Right.
You know, we going through some, I don't know.
No, you're not. Everything's good.
Nah, we good. We in good terms.
And Cole reciprocated the love. At a concert, J. Cole fans began chanting,
Don't do that.
But J. Cole told them to stop. So after that, you'd think Pump would learn something, right? Nope. Despite all the advice, Pump didn't change and started making songs with just about anyone. But to his credit, Pump did accomplish some of the stuff that Cole said he wouldn't. In 1985, Cole said, "Come here, little man, let me talk with you. See if I can paint you the larger picture. Congrats, cause you made it out your mama house. I hope you make enough to buy your mama house." Lil Pump did buy his mama house and move his entire family out the hood, and his own $5 million house.
So, listen up, everybody. I just woke up the other day. I got bored, so you know what I did? I went and dropped $4.5 million on the house. You know why? Cause scat. That's why. And I hear all you little stupid ass talking about, you gonna go broke, you gonna go broke. I'm gonna go broke. Nigga, that's why I just went and dropped 4.5 on the crib. I'm about to go buy another Wraith. I'm about to go buy 5 more bust downs. I'm about to go buy everything.
Cole also told Pump to never stop touring, and Pump never did. Lil Pump still has a huge global fan base, and he still plays festivals in huge cities all over the world, which is definitely where most of his money is coming from today, exclusively internationally. But that's only because he's forced to. And today, Pump is in denial that he's fallen off. In an interview, he was asked if J. Cole's prediction was right, and he said,
"Do you feel like he predicted kind of like what ended up happening with your rap career?"
Nope.
No.
Because I'm still here.
And said nothing Cole said was correct. A crazy cope.
So you don't think he predicted anything?
I don't think he predicted shit.
No. That's fair.
Pump also said,
I'm still here.
You're still here, 100%.
Pump got so mad after the interview said that he actually leaked their number, but he has shown some signs of maturity.
I'm not doing shit. So you might see me on the internet as an ignorant but I was a chill guy who likes to have fun and enjoy life.
Even saying today, Pump has a lot of respect for Cole.
I don't have no hate against him. I got respect for him. Yeah, I was just trolling at the time.
And he's even trying to better his health. But Pump never got over the Russ beef. Even at the age of 22, Lil Pump was still dissing Russ. After Russ canceled his entire tour due to mental health issues, Pump dissed him.
You think you got mental health issues? I'm from Dade County, bitch. I was born with mental health issues. How about you deal with it and stop being a
I was born with mental health issues. That's the realest thing Pump has ever said.
And you know damn well who I'm talking to, boy. Your ass just canceled the whole Europe tour. Stop canceling shit. Hop on that fucking plane and go do your shows, you
And in 2024, Lil Pump is still stuck trying to do marketing gimmicks, except nobody pays attention. He's pretty irrelevant and his career has been on a steady decline. The next SoundCloud rapper on this list is none other than Smokepurpp. And yes, I do have a video that has this exact same info, but I just couldn't talk about Lil Pump without Smokepurpp as well. And of course, to tell you where he is today, you have to know where he was. Back in 2017 and 18, Smokepurpp was making massive waves on SoundCloud, dropping hits like Audi, and after he dropped his successful debut album Dead Star, it became very clear that he had potential. Not only that, but Purpp would be recognized by A-list artists like Travis Scott, who signed him to his label Cactus Jack, with Purpp even repping a chain. However, while accomplishing all of those things, Smokepurpp was slowly declining in musical quality, and his teenage fans began outgrowing his music. And it happened fast, so since it was clear Purpp was losing popularity, he had to bounce back. So on April 12th of 2019, as promotion for his next album Dead Star 2, Purpp flew out to London to do a couple-hour-long interview on the popular hip-hop radio show hosted by Tim Westwood. But little did he know that instead of boosting his career, he was about to start a chain of events that would do the exact opposite. The interview was very awkward, but the real embarrassment was the freestyle. Whilst Purpp was on the show, they had him freestyle, and what Smokepurpp gave them turned out to be one of the worst freestyles of all time. Previously, Juice WRLD had done a freestyle on the same show, so Smokepurpp tried to challenge him, and this ego would really bite him in the back.
Juice WRLD, I just tied you. I just tied you for the 1 hour freestyle.
The interview played him the beat for Kodak Black CZ and some XXXTentacion beats, among many more, and I can't play due to copyright, but it was horrible. One of the worst things I've ever seen. Afterward, he asked the interviewer what he thought, and it went viral for how bad it was. He was getting clowned on by everyone, YouTubers, bloggers, people on Twitter, and the comments on the video on YouTube were turned off. Smokepurpp tried to top Juice WRLD and failed miserably. The lyrics were awful, the flow was horrible, and he just couldn't hold his own. He also did a horrible freestyle on the XXXTentacion Moonlight beat. He was just moaning all over the beat. He rapped about his genitals and moaned like crazy. Long story short, the freestyle was so bad that Smokepurpp turned into a meme for like a week and seriously stained his reputation. Adam22 actually spoke on the situation and explained Purpp's team was at fault because no one in their right mind would give the green light for something like that.
Doesn't have a manager or his team around him or anything, really, because if you had anyone on your team, you're gonna have to tell them to scrap that, right? Like anybody who's speaking in your best interest.
And although during the interview, Purpp said he would give Juice WRLD a run for his money, afterward, he started complaining and lied that he didn't want to freestyle, saying,
Realized Moonlight wasn't even the only XB he gave me. He made me freestyle on Sad too. You know what I'm saying? I did not want to do that.
But what's funny is he still tried to play it off later on by dancing to that same freestyle. It didn't work.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to freestyle on that beat. All the other ones, cool. I was cool with freestyling, even though I didn't want to freestyle.
And finally tried to gaslight everyone, claiming they were dumb for thinking he was being serious.
And I was fucking around, bro. I was just fucking around type shit. Like, if you think that shit was serious, you're an idiot.
He actually tried to defend himself for years and play it off because of how much he got clowned on.
I personally...
Like, man, did that shit even seem serious? I think he was acting like I was dead serious on that shit, man. Like,
but it only got worse, and today, even Purpp jokes about it. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think it would stick this long. But I guess it's just one of those things that fans refuse to let go. However, at the time, Purpp still had time to turn things around. Plenty of time. So after the embarrassing moment, Purpp had the opportunity to turn it all around with his upcoming album, Dead Star 2. Dead Star was Smokepurpp's breakout album, and by that, I mean the only one that sold remotely well. As Purpp was scorching hot after dropping Audi, his hit single, and like I said earlier, it had a Travis Scott feature. So Dead Star 2 was the perfect project to be his quote-unquote comeback project. and Purpp knew this, so he gave it his all. Gearing up for the album drop, he spent $2 million of his label's money, wrote 800 songs, and got features from Trippie Redd, Denzel Curry, Lil Skies, Ty Dolla $ign, and Moneybagg Yo. Furthermore, he had to record Dead Star 2 6 times because of how many songs leaked, and the amount of periods as well. The album was actually pretty good, but unfortunately, it failed to have a single hit and gain support from fans. So in the end, Dead Star 2 only peaked at number 137 on the Billboard 200, which, considering what went into it, was a massive flop. There was one song that could have been a hit though, a song called No Problem featuring Kanye West. But due to Kanye's beliefs at the time and rebrand to Christianity, he requested it to be taken off, and it was.
Pretty much just told me like, yo, he's not really cursing and shit. He really doesn't even perform his old songs no more. Like, he does like Jesus Walks. Yeah. And then like if he does perform his old songs, he changed the lyrics.
The song later leaked, and it turned out to be really good. And looking back, it could have been the hit that revived Purpp's career, since he still had hype and fans waiting for him. After the flop, Purpp's feelings got hurt so bad after fans began telling him that he fell off, that he decided to go on an Instagram live defending himself, stating,
I done made 30 million. I don't even gotta put on music, bro. I done made millions. I do this. I make music because I love it. To be honest, I make music because I love it, but I don't gotta make music.
And made the excuse,
do it because I know I still have fans and I love making music. But to be honest, I don't need to make music, bro.
And because of all that, he didn't have to try anymore.
Don't forget, I wrote Kanye's biggest song. I love it. I made $26 million in 3 months off of that song. So.
But despite the fake claims by Purpp that he didn't have to try anymore, he was still very much trying to make a comeback. I mean, who wouldn't be? Following the Dead Star 2 flop, Purpp had one last shot to revive his career, an album named Florida Jit, executive produced by the famous producer Ronnie J, that had supposedly had Purpp go back to his SoundCloud and Florida roots. Purpp spent months working on the album and once again brought an army of features for his album, from his best friend Lil Pump, Young Nudie, Denzel Curry, Jack Harlow, and Rick Ross. And in an interview, he was even honest about the claims that he had fallen off. He said, "Look out," and claimed that after he dropped his album, he would be back like he never left. They usually say I've fallen off when I go like a month or two without dropping a song, and then I drop a song and it goes crazy. I'm in the news the first day like, he's back, and it's like, well, I was never gone. I don't really agree with that, but it's safe to say the expectations were set, not by fans, but by Purpp, who made this a now self-proclaimed comeback project. And he said one last time, "First they said I'm falling off," he began. "Then there's new excuses that we want the old Purpp. I made the whole Florida Jit like old mosh pit Purpp. And now those same people are acting like they knew I was about to turn up like this. I'm streaming crazy and my music is going up more than ever." Sadly, he was not going up more than ever. He was going down more than ever. The album was alright, but extremely repetitive, with the same flow and same beat. Purpp hyped up Florida Jit like it was some crazy, once-in-a-lifetime album, but every song sounded the same. The album didn't even sell 5,000 units. It sold a whopping 500. He was immediately clowned on once again by the same YouTubers and bloggers, and this time, it was even worse. He was welcomed back to the underground. It was a horrible look for him. A defeated Purpp wasn't even able to look himself in the mirror and face the music. Instead of taking it on the chin, he lied and wrote the real first week sales for Florida Jit. For all the haters saying I sold 5K, I sold 20K and 5K physical copies. But the facts were on the internet, and Florida Jit became his first project to not chart on the Billboard 200. And later, it turned out it really did sell 500 copies, which is a crazy drop-off. After the abysmal numbers, it was rumored that his label forced him to dye his hair rainbow and turn himself into a 6ix9ine clone. By the end of 2022, it had become evident that the fall-off reaper for rappers had come to collect, and Purpp, a rapper who had once sold out shows with some of the most hyped crowds ever, couldn't even get 10 fans to show up to a show. In Purpp's show in Pontiac, Michigan, a venue with the capacity of 250 people had at most 10 people in the crowd. Later on, in a show in Boston, Massachusetts, Purpp came 3 hours late, performed 3 songs, though for about 10 minutes, and out of nowhere, threw the mic and scammed some of them for the meet and greet. The following show, at Cleveland, the sales were just as low, and he didn't even show up, and refused to refund fans. It got so bad.
I don't give a f what the internet says, but we show everyone love and we pay respect to every person that walked across this stage once before and made this fucking cart what it is today. You hear me? Yes, sir, let's go.
Then in a Lyrical Lemonade show, Cole Bennett had to give a pep talk before Purpp came out, stopping fans from booing Purpp while he performed. And by that point, it was clear Smokepurpp's career was over, and since then, it's been raps. More and more shows started popping up with abysmal ticket sales, 20 people, 7 people, and it got so bad at some point that a fan took to Reddit to make a PSA to warn others not to see Purpp. Not like anyone was actually gonna go, but it was pretty funny. Apparently, Purpp took 3.5 hours, told the crowd there's no rules for Lil Purpp, played one song twice, an Uzi song, and dipped. The fan finally commented, "I've never seen a worse performance in my life." He was even exposed for stealing the flow and lyrics from an unreleased Juice WRLD song, Something to Prove, which leaked in early 2020, and Purpp's Rockstar, which came out later that year, had stolen lyrics and a flow, which is ironic, but just a couple years earlier, Purpp was comparing himself to Juice WRLD in that interview where he freestyled, saying he would top him. So I guess you could call that karma. In the following years, so as of recent, he's been exposed for blatantly ripping off Playboi Carti and Yeat on top of Juice WRLD, and even fans on his own subreddit have admitted he's fallen off. So that brings us to today, where Smokepurpp has faded into irrelevance, but Purpp's fall off wasn't immediate. It was a snowball, and each one of these events just sped it up. Purpp was actually one of the hardest SoundCloud rappers back in 2017, so it's tough seeing this, but at the end of the day, he just wasn't that talented, and made a series of bad decisions, so he really has himself to blame. But you see, this wasn't the first time Purpp had embarrassed himself. In the past, the same thing had happened. Back in 2018, Smokepurpp decided to take on Russ, and it actually began with his best friend, Lil Pump. After the Cole beef, you'd think Pump would learn something right. Nope. Despite all the advice, Pump didn't change. And just as the J. Cole beef was over, the Fuck Russ movement began.
I was like, everybody saying fuck Russ.
In June of 2018, Lil Pump took to Twitter and made the announcement, "Me and J. Cole cool now, so now it's fuck Russ." Russ had originally made a series of tweets regarding substances and how rappers being role models to young kids should use their platform responsibly and not promote them. He said that he was on a mission. And this would be a pretty wholesome message if we're being honest, except for the fact that he tweeted it right after what happened to Lil Peep, who Smokepurpp was actually best friends with for a short period of time. And here's how it all went down. Smokepurpp quote tweeted Russ's cautionary tweets saying, "Shut the fuck up, you a bitch." Russ, well, he wasn't exactly pleased with the whole F Russ movement, as, I mean, who wouldn't? Imagine your name and F in front of it, you wouldn't be cool with it. And Smoke on the whole thing on the Breakfast Club talking about the trend.
It's a shame.
Why did Lil Pump say me and J cool now, so Russ?
It's a trend, bro. I mean, that sentence is a trend.
He explained he never met or heard Pump or Purpp before the trend, which is hilarious. Imagine you're just doing your thing and some SoundCloud rappers just make your life miserable. I mean, I'd be mad too.
Do you know Pump?
No, I've never met Pump. I've never met Pump.
So he just was really
I've never met chasing. I've never met Pump, but that's what I'm saying.
And just said they were dumb kids.
So these are 17-year-old kids who like just post stuff on the internet. Like, you gotta understand, these are 15 to 18-year-old little kids on the internet who literally, like, you know, are just they don't know anything.
Kids are bum. Well, this one song. No, that's what I said. I'm not even talking about that. Oh. This is another one of these rappers who I've never met. Now, here's my thing, right? When we're on the same league and the same thing, we're on the same league and the same thing. Nipsey said some real shit in the interview. He said, paraphrasing, but he basically said, like, you know, the media has people fucked up and people are doing goofy that they're gonna have to pay for later on. 100%. Right? So this kid you're talking about is one of these rappers I've never met, don't know anyone. Maybe I do know someone that knows you, doesn't matter, but I never met you, I don't know you, and you're talking shit, right? You're joining in on the, like, oh wait, we're all making fun of Russ? Okay, cool, here's my joke too.
And I mean, he's not really wrong.
Rappers who just be saying F Russ, whatever, that's what's up. When we see you in person, we're gonna ask for clarification. And that motherfucker, what time it is, you know what I'm saying?
Strong conversation, that's what I like.
And he also hinted that when he saw them in person, he would be pressing them. But to their credit, Russ was, at the time at least, known for being a bit of a, you know, not a nice person.
Russ, he just seems like such a... Everything about him so corny. It's just...
Well, you know what? The Russ does fall on that list of, like, people who their attitudes is... It negates their skill.
It's like, these are people who are too stupid to understand what a Russ clearly is.
But unlike Cole, Russ wasn't going to just try and give Pump and Purpp some advice, especially Purpp. He decided he would take matters into his own hands. And after the Russ situation got out of hand, Russ was asked about it once more in an interview.
Why did the young rappers critique you like Young Band and Smokepurpp and those
guys? You know what? It's a trend. It's a trend to say that. Those kids, those are clowns, bro.
And explained that he had caught Smokepurpp lacking at a festival.
Yeah, we've caught one of them at a festival. That motherfucker knows what time it is, bro.
Which one? Smokepurpp or Lil Band?
I'm gonna tell you right now, if they respond, they know what time it is, bro.
And that if Purpp didn't stop talking smack, he would release a video giving him a chronic case of the beats.
We got video too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so if they get slick at the mouth, you just put the video
I'll
out.
leak the video, you getting your ass beat, so I suggest you tread carefully. You feel me?
The funniest part about this is that Russ only had a video of Smokepurpp getting the beats, but he also warned another rapper named Young Bands. Knowing Russ didn't have a video on him, Bands immediately responded by saying, "You guessed it, fuck Russ." So Russ released the video of Purpp getting the beats, and for a guy who was talking a lot of smack, it was really embarrassing and Purpp was a laughing stock. Right after the video was released, Purpp took to social media to defend himself and wanted a 1v1 with Russ, not his goons.
We all know if me and Russ went heads up, I'll out of Russ. I'll out of Russ. And y'all can set it up, real talk. Me and Russ go heads up, I'll out of Russ.
He said he was caught by surprise.
Like I said before, I go in the bathroom, I come out the bathroom, it's like 7 dudes there, I ain't never seen them in my life.
And even though it was a 7v1, he stood his own ground.
I didn't give a I fought all 7, I fought all of them. Feel me? I was with the fuck shit, I don't care. I came out the bathroom, they was there, I fought all of them.
But the video showed a different story, and from Pump's Instagram story days later, it was clear he had a black eye. So he tried to act tough, but it didn't work out that way. The next day, Purpp was surrounded by security and Russ taunted him saying,
"Are you done talking? Hey, Purpp!"
Purpp just walked off in shame, speechless, so he didn't really have the same energy he had in person that he had on Instagram Live, like many of the people on the internet. But you see, unlike Pump, Purpp didn't just disrespect Russ's musicianship, he also disrespected his family. While they were beefing, Purpp made Russ's sister as his profile picture.
Smokepurpp thing happened because he put your sister up on the Twitter, and to me that it's on site.
And his homie's sister.
I feel like they could operate without.
No, 100%. It's on site.
And like that issue is also he put my homie's little daughter.
No, it's on site.
And the moment Purpp did that, it was over. And he probably should have been prepared for whatever, as he really did take it way too far.
100%.
It wasn't just my sister. Like that's what I'm saying. Like now my people have a problem.
No. That's not even like defendable. Like I think, my G, if you're gonna operate like that, the internet becomes real.
Just you gotta be prepared for whatever the consequences come.
Russ later explained that he would have been willing to peacefully squash it.
Like I'm cool to squash it, but if not, you clearly know like we can take it there too. But
and that Purpp shouldn't have been mad the way Russ handled it, which I totally agree with.
Like stop pushing and shoving and prodding and poking, then being like, why are you reacting like that? Why are you leave me the fuck alone? Why y'all poking at me? Chill the fuck out.
Like there's
And Russ even dropped a diss track called Think Twice about the situation, dissing Lil Pump and Smokepurpp. And after all of that, they did squash it.
Me and Purpp got on the phone though the other day and squashed this.
But that was way in the past, and most people, believe it or not, had forgotten about that. The freestyle was fresh in their memory, and it just stuck for some reason. The final rapper on this list is none other than Lil Yachty. Back in 2016, Lil Yachty dropped One Night, and he went from a nobody in a college dorm to one of the hottest rappers in hip-hop, in unironically One Night. And before we talk about where he's at currently, we have to talk about what led him to this point. Back in 2016, the perception of Lil Yachty was that he was extremely disrespectful towards traditional hip-hop and the OGs, making him very hated mostly by older and casual rap fans. But this wasn't a random assumption. These people didn't just have it out for Yachty. Yachty had actually done it to himself. You see, when Yachty was doing press in an interview, he straight up said,
"The reason they so mad is because they think that the young kids don't take this hip-hop thing serious."
I honestly don't.
He honestly doesn't.
And he doesn't.
It's called having fun.
I'm sorry.
You're just having fun, right?
Yeah.
That's it, and getting money. That's it. It's all money, getting and fun.
We're just chilling.
So Lil Yachty, or any rapper in general, saying that they don't take rap seriously and that it was just for money was not a great look, especially as a new, younger rapper from the new generation. And if you compare it to any career, the response would be the same. Then Yachty didn't make things much better when he said he wasn't even a rapper in the same interview.
Right, and the reason they so mad is because they think that the young kids don't take this hip-hop thing serious.
I honestly don't.
He honestly doesn't.
And he doesn't.
It's called having fun.
I'm sorry.
You're just having fun, right?
Yeah.
That's it, and getting money. That's it. It's all money, getting and fun.
It's just...
Remember, Hot 97 was a decades-long radio station that was well known in the rap community, so the old heads took his words as a diss towards hip-hop, as a genre. But you see, this wasn't the 2000s. Rap was in for a big change, and Yachty was one of the best examples at the time, because that year, Yachty was added to the 2016 XXL freshman list. In his XXL freestyle, Yachty tried to rap more conservatively, and 2 weeks later, he even dropped a song titled For Hot 97, as a response to everything that had happened, really just a hate, for his appearance on the show. But Ebro, the host of Hot 97, took it as a diss, and took some shots at Lil Yachty on Twitter, writing, "Lil Yachty and his team with these high school hashtag bars. Ha, love Lil Bro." Another Lil rapper caught feelings. High school bars. Ha 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 ha. Here we go again. Clearly, he felt some type of way about this diss. Yachty fired back and said, "Lol, I didn't catch feelings. It was just to show that I can rap. Cause me having fun with that freestyle, folks." But it wasn't totally one-sided, as eventually some old tweets got discovered as well of Yachty dissing the old gen as well. Back in 2011, Yachty was actually tweeting F J Cole. And what's funny is this was before it was a trend to hate on J. Cole. Here's some of the tweets, and Yachty actually responded to this saying, "Back in the day, I was heavy on saying F J Cole. I don't know why. His music is so lyrical." Let me clear this up. These tweets keep surfacing. I deleted them, but like they're still there. First of all, this is from 2011. I was in 10th grade, I think, or 9th grade. So he didn't really take accountability and just said he was young, which is kind of fair. Later that year, one of Yachty's friends said this, "Lil Yachty, the new Nas." Yachty responded with, "I don't want to be Nas. I want to be rich." And interactions like these would only annoy old heads even more, as they were much more value-centric compared to rappers like Yachty. And this was evident when Ebro took more shots at Yachty. The hashtag troll is a part of who these new rappers are. I wish hashtag bars and great music were too. Well, I wish you stopped using so many hashtags. I'm just joking. Come on, guys. Yachty responded with, "God, I was waiting on you, Grandpa Ebro. How you doing? Take your meds and drink coffee this morning." And guys don't know how to expect change. They old and washed up. I said it. And this does apply to a lot of older rappers. However, it's still very disrespectful, as you should always respect your elders. And Yachty ended it by saying, "Actually, F Hot 97, I'm not finna explain myself to no guys dissing me." So you'd think after all of this, Yachty would just lay low on the traditional hip-hop hate. Nope, because later, in an interview with Burberry Perry, Lil Yachty said the Notorious B.I.G. is overrated. And remember, Biggie is a certified legend in hip-hop. No one can deny it, whether you like his music or not. Later, Yachty said he couldn't name 5 Tupac or Biggie songs, and this made him even more hated. In fact, one of the most hated figures in rap at the time. But remember, Yachty wasn't just some fad or gimmick, or doing small internet numbers. All while this was happening, Yachty was blowing up. His song Broccoli just peaked at number 5 on Billboard. His other song One Night charted at number 49 on Billboard. But afterwards, Yachty did try to reconcile with the older hip-hop crowd and go on the Beats One radio show by Ebro and appeal to more classic hip-hop fans who unfortunately were not impressed or even happy with it. In fact, classic rappers like J. Cole weren't either, who decided to throw shots at Yachty in one of his songs, where he said, "Bunch of words ain't saying shit. I hate these rappers, especially the amateur 8-week rappers, lil whatever, just another short bus rapper." At this point, Yachty must have realized he really messed up somewhere along the way, so he said,
"I f with J. Cole, bro.
Say whatever you want to say.
I mean, I don't listen.
You don't listen to J. Cole, but you f with J. Cole."
But it was too late. The old heads were like sharks who had already smelled Yachty's scent. The next old head to come for Yachty was the infamous Joe Budden, who spazzed out on Yachty after explaining he didn't know what type of deal he was in and implied he was ungrateful, which he had somewhat of a point, but when he got so angry, that's when things changed.
"I want you to know whether you're in a 360 or not. I want you to appreciate the culture that changed your life and took you from college dorm rooms eating oodles and noodles."
And this was Yachty's response.
"I want you who's well-spoken and articulates himself well."
Chill.
The response was amazing because he really was just a dude having fun, something Budden couldn't fathom. And at the time, this was a huge moment in hip-hop. Once again, Yachty just playfully took the disrespect and dropped a smash hit, I Spy, which became a huge hit, peaking at number 4 on Billboard. And this just proved that the new generation loved him and didn't care about anything the old heads were mentioning. And after about a year, Yachty just showed no signs of stopping down. He got a huge Target sponsorship, a Nautica deal, and a Sprite ad, and in just 18 months, it was reported that Yachty made $13 million. God. But you see, just when Yachty would start to settle in the eyes of fans as someone who would become a real commercial hitter or heavy hitter in hip-hop, everything went wrong. That year in 2017, Yachty announced that he would be dropping his new album, Teenage Emotions. Remember, this was something that he had promoted heavily and said was going to be his best work ever. However, Teenage Emotions flopped, selling 46K first week, peaking at number 5. And for a guy so young with so much success, Yachty's ego really surprised me because he had none. He explained he was devastated, saying, "When I first released my Teenage Emotions album, I thought that was fire. Then the sales came back and I did 44K first week and I was devastated. So confused, I worked so hard." The album was pretty terrible though, if I'm being honest. And his music was just clearly not hitting, even among the younger fans. But hey, that was just one flop. Yachty could easily come back, right? And prove all the haters wrong. Well, he sort of did, because Lil Bo 2 sold 64k, yippee. However, it had an Avengers list of features, and the album was just alright. This was dangerous. The conversation that Yachty was falling off was soon starting to form, just like the disrespectful label was slapped onto him. If you remember, Yachty previously silenced everyone through his commercial success. Would he be able to do it again? Well, in the end of 2018, we'd find out when he dropped Nothing to Prove. It sold 40k, so it was clear Yachty was digressing. He had to go back to the drawing board, or else his career would, to put it nicely, not be headed in a pleasant direction. When he finally came out, he was a new man. He was no longer the bubbly, naive, happy-go-lucky young rapper. Now, he had faced the industry for a couple of years, and it showed he had changed. But this too wasn't by accident. Yachty had some pretty tough experiences as a young rapper in the music industry. One was what happened with him and his main producer / best friend, Burberry Perry. When Lil Yachty first started gaining notoriety in 2015, Yachty and Perry were constantly seen together and collaborating. After all, one night, Lil Boat, or Lil Yachty's breakout song, was produced by Perry, and Perry described their friendship by saying,
we're literally always together at all times. We shared a room when he took me in. He like shared his room with me, shared his clothes with me.
But some fans attributed this to Yachty's projects, where Perry had production in selling poorly and not being received well by mainstream fans, such as Teenage Emotions. But soon after, it was revealed, at least it seemed so, why the two had fell out. And to fans, it seemed sudden. In early 2018, March, a fan asked Yachty if he was still cool with his best friend, writing, "Are you and Perry still cool?" He responded, "Good question. It's whatever, we don't talk." This was huge, as they were once best friends, and it was clear something had to have happened if they had fallen out. But this wasn't the worst of what Yachty would face during those years, because Yachty had also assembled a rap group called the Sailing Team that he wanted to bring up with him. However, after trying his hardest, Yachty just couldn't make the team work, and eventually they had to disband. This must have been horrible for him, and he explained why he had to do so in an interview. Yachty spoke about how the group just didn't have the same vision as him, work ethic, and were ungrateful for how much Yachty spent on them. He even revealed how much money he spent on them before throwing in the towel. Damn, $1 million? He really did as much as he could for them. But Perry and the rest of the Sailing Team weren't taking advantage of the platform and resources Yachty was providing and investing into them. And then one day, he had to swallow the tough pill so he just said, hold up. But looking back, he just wanted the best for them all, specifically Perry. He even said he wanted the best for Perry. So, after all these experiences, what did he do? Well, Yachty realized after all of these falls, he had to do something different, and that's what brings us to today. Yachty began by deciding he would be taking a more backseat role in the industry as a writer, curator, and tastemaker in hip-hop. Quite ironic if you remember the beginning of the segment. For example, Yachty wrote the smash hit by the female rap group City Girls, peaking at number 26 on Billboard. He did try reviving his rap career though, with Oprah's Bank Account featuring Drake and DaBaby. Unfortunately, it flopped big time, especially for a Drake feature, which almost guarantees that you'll have a hit. But somehow, Yachty flipped that, and it peaked at number 89 on Billboard. Remember, it also had a DaBaby feature when he was on his crazy run. So, dang Yachty, really? And Lil Bo 3 sold 30k, the worst he's ever sold. So it was clear, even after he began reinventing himself, his career was just not working out. And this really brings us to where he is currently. Because after this, Yachty hit the switch and completely changed. His red hair dye and beads were gone. He started a nail polish brand, a new rap group called Concrete, collabed with a lot of underground artists and scenes, and he also became best friends with Drake. And then Yachty, out of nowhere, was blessed when a song that he was blackmailed into sending hackers, Poland, blew up as a meme song and unironically became his biggest song since his early career. Then he dropped a psychedelic rap album, which was received very well. However, what's very ironic to me and many other fans is how Yachty has become exactly what he was pitted against in the beginning of his career. You see, Yachty may have been getting a lot of success or more success than he was in the middle of his career. However, this does not mean that he wasn't getting hate. And it seems like no matter what Yachty does, he's always going to be a controversial figure. As Yachty is now calling out younger rappers for not putting in effort in their raps by saying, hip-hop is in a terrible place. The state of hip-hop right now is a lot of imitation. It's a lot of quick, low-quality music being put out. It's a lot less risk-taking. It's a lot less originality. People are too safe now. Everyone is so safe. I'd rather take a risk than take an L. Of course, this was ironic because Yachty came into the game bringing himself as the face of the I make music for fun with no substance movement, and he was now hating on people for doing the same. But overall, will Yachty ever have a song as successful as I Spy, Broccoli, or even culturally relevant as Minnesota or One Night? If we're being honest, probably not. And maybe that's for the best, as the way he's been able to reinvent himself was pretty cool. Rappers who blow up often bring their day ones with them, but what happens when they don't? Sometimes it's their fault, others it's not, and it's a tale as old as time in the music industry. Acts of making it big and leaving their friends behind, who were there from the start and helped them when they had nothing. So today, I'm gonna take a look at some of the popular rappers from recent times who have reached astronomical success in the music industry, but at the cost of leaving their fellow rapper friends behind. The first being Yeat. After Yeat had his breakout single, Sorry About That, and multiple others, he'd go from less than 20,000 followers on Instagram to hundreds of thousands in less than a year. And in the beginning, his plan was to bring those that were with him when he was down, all the way to the top with him. He even has a song from his 2021 album Up to Me, where he rapped, "I got rich with the same gang." Unfortunately, that was soon to be short-lived. Who were the people in question? His best friend at the time, who happened to be a rapper, September's Rich, and his longtime manager, Nextel. Before Yeat blew up, and while he was blowing up, Yeat and September's Rich were like bacon and eggs, always seen together, and were even the ones who created Yeat's signature Twizzy handshake. I was there for Yeat when Yeat was down. Yeat and Sep originally met through the internet and eventually met in real life in LA. They'd become close friends, making a lot of music, and they'd collaborate on songs like Trendy Way, one of Yeat's most popular songs early on, 5 to a 60, La M, Met the Devil, and many more. Furthermore, September's Rich was featured on 4 Yeat albums back to back, once Yeat started to gain some popularity. Speaking of bringing your friends with you, one of the other things Yeat did to, like he said, get rich with the same gang was create a label with his longtime manager Nextel called Twizzy Rich Entertainment and signed September's Rich to it, as well as 2 producers of his responsible for early hits like Synthetic and Tragic. Tragic produced the song that changed Yeat's life, Sorry About That. The label promoted some of Yeat's and September's releases, however it didn't do much after that, and today only Tragic is still followed, likely meaning he's still signed. However, before their fallout, there were problems present already. Fans hated, I repeat hated, September's Rich, whose music wasn't very good to be honest, despite having songs with Yeat. That was actually some of Yeat's best early work. And September earned the nickname from Yeat's fans as Yeat's cheerleader / glorified sidekick. But Yeat didn't really let it get in the way of their friendship, and when Yeat had the fanbase, he decided to go on tour, taking September's Rich with him as his opening act. Although the hate didn't end on the internet, at one of the shows, September got booed and fans would continually chant Yeat, making Sep react by doing this. Their friendship remained strong, but Yeat would slowly begin to distance himself from September, no longer featuring him on albums. But they still seemed to be good friends. In September of 2022, Yeat bought September a $20,000 chain for his birthday. However, in 2023, they started being seen less and less with each other, and eventually even unfollowed each other in the middle of the year, confirming they had fallen out. Yeat also unfollowed his manager of 5 years, as well as the label page they had started together, Twizzy Rich. In 2023, Nextel took to Instagram to share Yeat's betrayal of both him and Yeat's former best friend, September's Rich, by saying, "How you let your artist be so unstable financially and mentally after using him as a sidekick so you look less suburban on stage." He then said Yeat's new manager was Zach Bia, and Nextel said he didn't want to be associated with Yeat any longer. He'd also post a cryptic message to Yeat's Twizzy Rich Entertainment label page on Instagram, stating, "When high turns to buy." However, in Yeat's defense, September's Rich clearly wasn't a squeaky clean guy. He was a well-known scammer, rapping about scamming fans on Instagram and for features, and even had some pretty serious allegations from multiple women about him. Nextel put the blame on Yeat for September's financial instability. Pretty ironic because his name is September's Rich, but in reality, September was just like that. Constantly having legal issues, crashing cars, and drinking a lot of grape juice, which he admitted he had a problem with. What was really sad was his fallout with Nextel, who was with Yeat when he was nothing, and helped him reach the place he wanted. So did Yeat abandon his day ones? Was it justified? I'll leave this one up to you guys. I wouldn't say so. His manager, maybe, but who knows what really happened behind the scenes, because Yeat hasn't really spoken on this. The next rapper who abandoned his day one, allegedly, is Destroy Lonely. After signing to Opium, Playboi Carti's label in December of 2020, and later Interscope under Carti, he had a meteoric rise in popularity through that cosign. But before he was signed to Carti, had billboards promoting his album, and millions of monthly listeners, Destroy Lonely had a best friend, who he was close collaborators with, and helped him since they were young. Here's a video of them in a mall from a YouTube video, being called Ray Shrummer before the fame. And his friend's name was Nezis. Lone and Nezis go back to when they were kids. Nezis had just moved to where Lonely was living, and they had met at a cookout.
They throw a cookout, and I happened to pull up. I didn't even know Nezis at the time. I just pull up.
The next day, on the first day of school, Lonely was there, and after school, they saw each other at the bus lane.
I'm finna go home. Go bus you ride, cause I knew where the buses go. It turned out he rode the bus. They go to the neighborhood right across the street from me. So he lives right across the street from me.
After that, they went to Nez's house.
That day, I go home, I go to his house.
And a few days later, they started making music. When Lone went to Nez's house, he saw...
When I pull up, he got studio equipment and everything.
Lonely was already attempting to make music and be a musician.
But I didn't have a laptop, I didn't have nothing. Yeah. He's got all that.
But Nez's had a real studio set up at his house, both for himself and his older brother, Big Smoke Chapo, who was also a rapper. So Nez's and his friends...
He was making a song with his friends. I'm like, let me rap.
And at first, they didn't believe him, saying...
Like, you don't rap.
He was like...
I'm like, bro, I rap, bro. Yeah. Like,
then they made a song.
Yeah, we made a song, and it was probably like the hardest song made like back then, you know what I'm saying?
And from there...
Yeah. Ever since then, me and him was locked in.
And Lonely used Nez's setup to learn how to rap. In an interview, Lone explained he spent every day at Nez's house after school since he moved, saying, Nez's had a studio that was perfect for what I was trying to do, so I ended up walking to his house every day to record and make music with him, showing gratitude as well, saying, they both took me in and messed with me heavily, and I appreciate them for that. Lonely was also a part of Nez's older brother's group, Addicted to Money, aka ATM. Looking at old releases of Lone's, they were released to Addicted to Money, and Lonely even has an EP called Addicted to Money. Using Nez's connections, Lone was also able to collaborate with other well-known rappers in Atlanta, like Slime Cito and Flu Honchos. Lonely and Nez's have tons of songs, at least 50 that are out, and even have a collab EP called Destroy Nez's. That tape actually got them expelled.
We got kicked out of school about a music video on that project. We dropped the music video. The principal seen that. We ain't never go to that school again.
They were always seen together, constantly hanging out, and were best friends for a long time. Until Lonely was signed to Opium, Carti's label. When he first got signed, he was still showing love, and it looked like they were good friends, saying,
That's my dog too, I ain't gonna lie.
How did you meet Nezis? How'd y'all, what's
That's
the story
my
on you
brother.
and Nezis?
I ain't gonna lie, twin like.
But soon after, they wouldn't be seen with each other, or really interact much, other than on comments on Instagram. And they were supposedly on good terms. Lonely just got too busy. However, fans were constantly commenting on Nez's page, asking about Destroy Lonely, and it was starting to get annoying. So in the middle of 2023, Nez's made some comments to express his thoughts on the situation with Lonely, that he wanted to respect, and clearing up why he hasn't been seen with Lone, saying, y'all want me in the shadow of this one guy who ain't seen or spoke to me in 3 years. I'm a real person, not just some guy's old friend from back then. This came as a shock to most fans. Either they didn't know they hadn't seen each other in person, or that they weren't really friends anymore. I honestly thought they were still cool with each other, but just stopped making music together. And Nez's music has improved quite a bit, and I recommend you check it out. So, did Destroy Lonely abandon him? Not really, although you could argue he did leave Nez's behind, but I'll leave it up to you again. Honestly, they don't seem to be on bad terms, people just grow apart and it's a normal part of life. The final rapper of this video is Lil Peep, and before I start, I want to give a disclaimer. Since Lil Peep is dead, this isn't to disrespect him or anything. In 2017, Peep was really starting to take off and was seeing enormous growth. He was being touted as an innovator who had brought genres together and pioneered a new sound. However, prior to his massive success, Peep had a collaborator and a group who helped him birth the sound equally, if not more, Lil Tracy and Gothboy Clique. Lil Tracy and Lil Peep had almost 30 songs during the end of their run, and during their time working together, definitely left their mark. Lil Peep met Lil Tracy in the beginning of 2016, and before that, Peep was a fan, giving Tracy a shout out on one of his songs. The very first day they met, they made one of their biggest songs together, White Tea, and Peep messaged Tracy on Twitter, telling him they would change the world.
Some low-key, some crazy message.
We gonna change the world.
We gonna change the world, bro.
They didn't even speak. Peep just told Tracy he had a song for him, and they made the song, White Tea. It quickly hit 1 million views, and that single they recorded that day led to an EP, Castles, and pretty soon they'd become inseparable. Peep's mom even recalls Peep telling her he was with Tracy every time she called, and Tracy said making music together was like drinking water. They released a slew of singles and another project, Castles 2, as well. Pretty soon, Lil Peep was signed, and that's when tensions would arise. Tracy wasn't as popular as Lil Peep, and it was partly because he was getting shunned from the blogs and media, who were giving Peep the credit for the so-called emo revival. In a Pitchfork review of Peep and Tracy's song, White Wine, the editor gave Tracy a whopping 1 line for a song they had an equal part in the entire article. In 2017, Peep was really starting to take off and was seeing enormous growth. Even though their songs together were doing numbers, the attention was going to Peep. Tracy didn't want to be Peep's sidekick or in his shadow, he wanted to be himself. Here's where Tracy really felt left behind though. They used to kick Tracy out of Peep's apartment, especially Peep's manager.
I think it was his
His
team.
The team.
It was the team.
You can tell from the way he talked about Tracy with disdain in the Lil Peep documentary. On top of that, Lil Peep was relocated to London by his management, isolating him, keeping him away from Tracy and his other friends. At first, Tracy defended him, saying,
The GBC morale to have Lil Peep gone in London?
When did he? Oh, he
It's the
just
first
left
day,
today.
so we don't know.
First day,
We'll
yeah.
have to find out, right?
but eventually it got too much. Tracy said,
You go to Berlin, you go in Germany, you go to space. Every show is sold out.
Yeah.
And you're performing songs that you have with your friends, but no one is there.
They were all in LA.
We're all back in LA beating.
Like, damn, I wish I was in Germany.
Counting up quarters and
seeing the
Fans would tweet at Tracy,
Where were you?
Are you gonna be at the show?
How? Like, it's like, no, we can't.
without any clue. He wouldn't be there, of course. So Tracy felt like he was left behind and didn't want to be a sidekick. Peep's management / label tried to sign him at one point.
They came to me too.
Oh.
And I was just like, nah, I would be a clown.
He'd be a shadow.
I would be supporting
Sidekick.
role in a movie.
However, he would be a clown. He could never be a sidekick, according to him. One of the main issues he had with Peep was he claimed Peep never used his voice to remedy the awkwardness of the situation.
He never tried to clear the subject. Like, he didn't use his voice. He just,
You know what I'm saying? You call us your brothers.
whatever you call it, blog, post a, and they only talk emo revival. They talking about, oh, Lil Peep is bringing back blah 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 blah, and they post a song of me and him, but they only talking about him. Like, bro, you have to say something.
Tracy would say some crazy things to Peep on Twitter as well. However, Peep told him he was his favorite human and his brother, even saying he tried to think what Tracy would do in every situation. Tracy, mad, told him he wasn't and he would. While they were on bad terms, Peep even wished Tracy a happy birthday, calling him his best friend. When he died, Tracy didn't think it was real. He had seen it on Twitter and they hadn't talked in a month. Tracy found out that Peep passed when he was in the studio. He described it as terrible and he threw up. He felt like Peep wouldn't have died if he was there with him. Now he has multiple tattoos to pay homage and celebrates their music. So Lil Peep didn't really abandon Tracy, in my opinion. They were just separated through egos and the industry. However, many fans, while Peep was alive, did think so. Rappers are known for having some of the most diehard fan bases, sometimes even more than pop stars. Their fans travel to different countries to see them, tattoo their favorite rappers on themselves, and more. But what happens when fans get too diehard? Well, sometimes it turns toxic and the fans form a parasocial relationship with the rapper and end up becoming quite mean to them, almost as if they aren't fans of the rapper. And that's what we'll be talking about today. I'm Rashad Fashir, and these are rappers whose fans end up bullying them. First up, we got Ken Carson. After blowing up with the song Yale both on TikTok and for being Playboi Carti's protege, as well as the first artist signed to Carti's record label Opium, Ken Carson slowly built his own cult following, piggybacking on Carti's success, and eventually establishing his own lane. But of course, since he was signed to Playboi Carti, a lot of his fans overlapped with that of Playboi Carti's own fans, known for being their fair share of toxic and crazy after years of abuse from Playboi Carti's narcissistic tendencies and not dropping music. So when Ken Carson started coming up, I guess he was just an easy target for their fan base. At first, fans would just call his music trash here and there, because not all fans could get into his music. But it didn't take long for fans to start making fun of him, and it all began with one post on the Playboi Carti subreddit. What's interesting is the Ken Carson hate train was a butterfly effect. A butterfly effect is the idea that small things can have non-linear impacts on a complex system. In this case, the complex system is Ken Carson's sanity and reputation. It all started with an innocent post, not meaning any harm, posted to Playboi Carti subreddit 6 days before Whole Lotta Red dropped, when Ken Carson was relatively unknown, titled, "Why does Ken Carson look like a Goomba? A character from Mario." The comments on the post were pretty tame, but the snowball began rolling. What's really funny about this post is someone came back and said this started it all, and the original Reddit user said appreciate you, like he was spreading awareness for a good cause or something. Pretty soon, fans were referring to Ken Carson as Goomba. When his fans were asked about what they thought when people called him Goomba, they said, "It's sometimes funny, and because he looks like one." Yeah, they're not the nicest. He ignored it for a long time, but eventually Ken had to break his silence and speak on the issue, saying if someone calls him anything but the nicknames he prefers to go by, or Ken Carson's, he would do something to them. He didn't directly say what because I guess it's embarrassing for him, but it only got bigger. Currently, a fan is making money by selling Goomba plushies on Amazon, sitting at a 4.5-star review, and you can even find them on Walmart's online store. It went so far that fans were even trying to find fake, cheaper versions of this Goomba plushie. And they started throwing Goomba plushies at shows, not once, but multiple times. In Germany, Rolling Loud, they were throwing Goombas everywhere. Some fans even called him Goomba in real life while he was ordering food. But fans wouldn't just call Ken Carson Goomba though. They'd also make fun of his appearance, and it would affect him more negatively than the Goomba nickname. Goombas aren't exactly flattering creatures, and Ken Carson was probably aware of it. A lot of fans actually just called him ugly, outright, and it would have a pretty strong effect on his confidence. Ken Carson used to love to smile and spread positivity, saying,
"Oh no, I just want to be good energy. I don't want to be like no super down. Just can't smile no more." Like,
well, I guess not, because after fans started calling him Goomba and ugly, he began to hide his smile. He went months without smiling publicly, and I don't know if we've seen anything like this ever. He just stopped smiling in pictures altogether. And at that point, people began realizing it was having a serious impact on him and showing remorse, even defending him. But that didn't last forever. And very recently, a new wave of hate has been pouring in due to his weight gain. Fans have been calling him fat, making jokes about Ken Carson being able to eat a fan and being obese. The fat jokes began a year ago, but recently they were taken to another level. Fans have been making before and after compilations of his weight gain, reminiscing on when he was skinny, and joking about how long he takes to drop, saying,
"By the time that album drop, gonna be in a Fat Albert type build, bro. It's literally gonna be over. Big as hell, wobbling every step."
Some fans are even worried for his health and asking why he let himself go. So is Ken Carson to blame? Not at all. What's happening to him is seriously messed up, and he should honestly just stay off social media for a long time. I don't even know what to say. Next up, we got Lucki. Hailing from Chicago, Lucki's been rapping for 10 years, and throughout that window, he has gained nothing short of a cult fan base, watching and reacting to his every move. It was okay for a while, but towards the second half of his career, fans began to turn their backs on him and bully him for the weight he gained. It began in 2019, and fans immediately called him out for it. It was actually due to substance abuse, which he has a very traumatic history with, getting hooked at a young age and even having to take a year-long break from music due to the issues stemming from his substance abuse after being hospitalized for a week in 2016. So his addiction was and still isn't really a joke, if you get what I'm saying. However, his fans didn't care at all and mocked him. The first time he started receiving hate was when a picture of him holding his stomach went viral on an Instagram live. A fan even made it their phone case. Normally, jokes like that die out, but for some reason, it just stuck and got bigger with Lucki. And in 2022, a fan rubbed his belly at a show. Lucki retaliated and spit on him, and afterwards said he would have done worse because the fan didn't even show any remorse. Most people thought it was deserved, and someone even said that they experienced something similar at a Lucki show, saying at the Houston concert, some people in the crowd were talking about, "Let me rub your belly, Lucki." Crazy. However, to most fans, it wasn't serious. It was a joke, and they'd make TikToks mocking the situation. A year later, Lucki spoke on it on the popular streamer Bruce's stream, saying,
He was like, grab my stomach, and I'm like, bro, stop. And he was like, and just kept doing it. I'm like, bro, stop. Like, that's weird, bro. Like, look at me in the eyes, like on some sick shit, bro.
So Lucki's fans' infatuation with his belly, that's a crazy sentence, hasn't stopped and doesn't look like it will. This fan made a TikTok called Fat Jesus rubbing his belly, referring to Lucki as Fat Jesus, of course. And it's not a hater, it's actually a fan, because this guy has Lucki as his profile picture. So these new fans of Lucki's genuinely do not care about his well-being. To them, he's kind of like a joke who just makes music that they try and relate to. Furthermore, it became a trend for fans to cosplay him and rub their belly with a cup in their hand. Here's some examples. If anything, this just shows that Lucki doesn't care, because most people would get into shape after this much hate. On Instagram Lives, fans constantly commented,
"Shake that belly." Whoa.
And Lucki's fans' obsessions with his belly seems to have no bounds. In a street interview, when a fan asked what he would say to Lucki, he said,
I'll rub his belly. I asked him, can I rub his belly? You know what I'm saying? Can I rub your belly? Please.
These people act like Lucki is an animal at a petting zoo. It's actually pretty funny. Lucki is a pretty chill guy, but eventually he got pretty mad, rightfully so, and went on Instagram Live to address the situation, admitting,
like, bro, I got fat over a pandemic, okay? Like, I wake up every day and do what the I want. I gain weight, I'm a human.
But justified it by saying,
bro, I make hella money, bro. I do what the I want to do all day, literally.
But he slipped up and said something that made fans not take him very seriously, when he said,
like, for real, bro, I'm healthier than you. I eat healthier than you.
Which, you know, I don't want to be mean, but he also addressed the excuse that fans make, saying,
stop saying we just worried about you.
He said it's a bad excuse and they should.
You worry about your self, you
bum. Stop worrying about me then. Worry about your self. That's not a good excuse.
And just to reiterate, he was really, really mad.
Y'all be pissing me off with my brother, bro. For real. Y'all are pissing me off. Stop saying that, bro.
Little did he know, it was just the beginning and he was feeding the fire. The comments were not forgiving, saying, he a lean demon, he's running out of breath, and making fun of him for saying he's healthy. But today, it seems like he's in a state of acceptance, and explained he just wants his fans to be positive, saying,
You're so mean. Stop being that way. I know it's not that serious, but Jesus Christ, give me a break, buddy.
His fans still don't care. They're even making fun of his breathing. When he was showing off a chain, his fans made fun of him for being out of breath. And on his subreddit, fans asked, why is Lucki so fat? And even went as far to document his weight gain, asking, when did Lucki start getting fat? Just constantly making fun of how he looks, like saying he looks like Shrek when he was saving Fiona. In 2020, he even included him getting fat into some of his music. On the song Unlimited, he said, we get high, we get fat, which sort of became a meme in his community. So after all of this, is this Lucki's fault? Not really. He didn't ask for these types of fans, but he has been making a lot of money as of late, and these are the people responsible for that. So I guess it's as he says.
A blessing and a curse at the same time.
The final rapper who gets made fun of by their fans is Summrs, aka the biggest bird, and this is the only rapper who somewhat is responsible for the way their fans act. Summrs has been rapping for about 7 years and has been popular for about 4. And recently, he's been getting clowned non-stop by his fans. From everything from their speculations about his financial status, to the way he looks, to his struggles with substance abuse. Summrs began to struggle with substances when he was 18 and tried it for the first time. At the time, he was a young, skinny kid, but fast forward to years later, he had started to gain weight from them, and his fans were not kind. It began a couple years ago. Fans were teasing him for, quote-unquote, getting his weight up. In the comments under another post, a fan commented, you need to stop before it's too late. If only he knew. They'd make fun of him on a regular basis, with absolutely no filter, making fun of his neck size and wrist size. But eventually, they weren't even making fun of him. They were genuinely annoyed and trying to get him to better his life. One fan called him out for bringing, wait for it, lean to a restaurant, saying, this guy's got a problem. And fans called him out, saying he was gonna fall off for being a junkie and choosing his cup over his career. His fans started to say his addiction would slowly lead to his music quality deteriorating, explaining how his addiction changed his behavior and relationship to music. I think he's addicted to the dopamine he gets when he releases albums. It seems like the money and drugs have kind of made him a shallow person. He also got older, fatter, and his voice changed. He doesn't hit in high notes like he used to. And today, fans have just gone sad over what his addiction has come to. A year ago, Summrs even responded to the fat allegations, saying his girl says he's fine, while also saying,
I know I'm fat, man. I could lose it. This man, y'all know where this from. Come on now, y'all know where this from, man. That's natural. That's what's gonna happen. I'm really doing it. I really lived on rapping.
Okay, so what's even funnier about this is after he said that, he then proceeded to say God forgive him, reach for his lean cup, and start blasting NBA Youngboy. What's ironic is years before Summrs had gained the weight, he made fun of a fast food worker for their weight, calling them a shark.
130, 50,000 pounds? Egging him down. A shark.
Years later, he was subjected to the same treatment by his own fans, except it was 1,000 times worse. In addition to all of this, Summrs has been part of his own fair share of shenanigans, to say the least, where he's embarrassed himself and his fans have come for his neck. Fans started calling him cringe for lying about security knowing who he was at the club and saying he wasn't from the hood. He's just been under constant fire for the way he's been acting. He threw a tantrum for not getting caramel in his McFlurry and receiving special treatment because of who he was. Fans took wind of this and started calling him broke to purposely poke at his insecurities, making fun of how Summrs couldn't stop flexing his spending after he flexed his electricity bill and touch sensor faucets. In fact, after a Summrs fan made a post about how Summrs was broke, he posted a bunch of money to story to respond, and this excessive flexing has given him the nickname, the most humble rapper. This is mean, but sometimes it can be seen as a playful back and forth, and it's not too bad, sometimes. Summrs' privacy was invaded by fans as well. A couple years ago, Summrs' mom, sister, brother, and his own Instagram was taken down by a fan. His mom's account had tons of memories, thousands of pictures that she never got back, which was pretty sad. So Summrs, like the other two rappers on this list, is a victim, and even though he does do some funny stuff, he definitely doesn't deserve the treatment he receives. Alright, so do these rappers deserve the type of treatment they receive from their fans? To me, no. The extent some of these fans take it to is insane, and a lot of them have no boundaries or nowhere to draw the line. I'm honestly very curious on how these guys cope with the amount of hate they receive on social media. And lastly, I just want to say I made this video because it was an interesting topic and story, and by making this video, I'm ironically part of the problem, so my bad. It's no secret that when rappers blow up, they develop egos. Their friends get jealous, and as a result, they often fall out with those who they started out with. And in the music industry, it happens all the time. And at this point, it's almost like a rite of passage. So in this video, we're gonna take a look at some popular rappers from recent times who have reached astronomical success in the music industry, but at the cost of leaving their fellow rapper friends behind. Part 2. This first rapper who switched up on their rapper compadre wasn't actually just one rapper. It was a duo, Lil Pump and Smokepurpp, the legendary SoundCloud duo that rose to fame in 2017 with their own respective hits, Gucci Gang and Audi. And for a year, these two were scorching hot, selling out shows, charting, and Lil Pump even ended up working with Kanye. But something most fans don't know is there's one more rapper they were friends with when they were coming up, dating all the way back to when they were kids, who they were like brothers with, and his name was Lil Ominus. Lil Ominus and Lil Pump go way back to when they were kids. When Pump was 13 years old, Ominus was actually the one that introduced him to Smokepurpp, and beyond that, Pump and Lil Ominus were raised together and were practically brothers.
Basically, that's my cousin, aka like little brother. Like him and his brother always like whenever they didn't have a place to live in, they'll live with me. And
their moms were close and would live with each other.
Mom would always be with his mom, and they'll take care of each other because they were both single moms. And
it was real family.
Yeah.
And Ominus did a lot for Purpp.
Yeah, so like we basically grew up together and shit. I was the first one to put Pump in the studio. I was the one that introduced Smokepurpp to Lil Pump and too as well.
Even outside of music.
Well, basically, I've been Lil Pump's mentor for ever since he was like little. I've taught him a lot of things about life and a lot of things about sports and a lot of things about music. Got him into like the music scene, about studios, like that.
Ominus was a little older and began rapping when he was young. At the time, him and Purpp were in a group together. And when the group fell apart, Ominus stuck with Purpp, eventually bringing Pump along with them. Pump and Purpp were the same age and quickly became best friends. And in the beginning of their careers, even after Pump and Purpp had become best friends, Pump, Ominus, and Purpp collabed quite a bit. However, after Pump and Purpp blew up, things changed quickly. Ominus said they began surrounding themselves with the wrong people.
My perspective was like they were surrounded by like the wrong people
who weren't their real friends or wanted the best for them.
Basically the fake people that they said like, oh, these are fake as we need to cut these off and this and that.
So Pump and Purpp actually agreed with Ominus, but kept hanging out with them, doing drugs with them, and Ominus watched Pump change completely.
Got to a point where they kept just chilling with those people that were being fake as and it kept doing like hella Zans, and then I noticed like change. Like
Pump was no longer the same kid Ominus grew up with and took care of, and eventually Pump and Purpp chose their new friends over him. So in early 2018, Ominus was cut off by Pump and Purpp, and Purpp dissed Ominus in an interview, saying,
Pump through a mutual friend that was like way older than us, but me and Pump were way younger. So after a while, you know, it just kind of like, you're a little too old.
Ominus wasn't even that much older and responded on Instagram and wished them the best.
I can't even be mad, bro. Like, it is what it is, bro. It don't stop me. Hope you go triple platinum. I hope you sell the most records, bro. Just know I still care about both of y'all. It is what it is.
But later on, he made a post enraged saying, "This music industry is so fake. Lil Pump was basically my little brother. I would have never thought my own family would turn. After I taught you everything, after I gave your family shelter when they needed it, after all the times you ran away and the only person you would talk to was me. Whenever you needed something, I was there. Your ego and selfishness is just at another level." After that, Purpp and Pump wouldn't even say his name anymore after they fell out.
We just had a mutual friend. Like, he had like this family friend that I knew, and like, you know, I was close friends with him.
Years later, Ominus shed some more light on what happened right before they left him. Pump had a Rolling Loud show and told Ominus he was gonna bring him there with him.
Loud, like I was supposed to be there, and then I don't know, he just kind of went Hollywood and didn't answer my calls. And
Ominus thought he was just busy, so he bought tickets for the show himself to support Pump.
And I even paid for the show just to support him because that was my brother, you feel me? And he just acted Hollywood.
But when Pump continued to act Hollywood, Ominus was taken aback.
But I also noticed like when a person changes completely, like just the persona and like their ego just flips out of nowhere, like.
And addressed the situation even further in interviews later.
I mean, we just not good no more. I mean, we used to be cool, we used to be brothers, but happens.
And said at the end of the day, Pump was just ungrateful for what Ominus had done for him.
I guess people just change with time, and they don't really realize what someone does for them when they don't have nothing.
But still said he was open to mending the relationship.
If one day they want to fix some, maybe it could happen.
The ugly part about this situation is Lil Ominus started calling paparazzi on himself a lot, where he'd call Pump out for switching up on him due to Xanax, and just saying whatever for clout, like Pump and Purpp were blackballing him and lying about stealing Purpp's chain. Part of the reason why no one ever took him seriously, even though for the style of music blowing up at SoundCloud at the time, his music was alright, was because he made his entire personality being ditched by Lil Pump and Smokepurpp. And if you think about it, expecting Lil Pump and Smokepurpp to be mature back then was asking for a lot. And as a 13-year-old fan, I didn't care about who Lil Ominus was. No offense. Unfortunately, in 2022, Pump's other cousin he ditched, Trapstar, tragically passed away in a car accident, who Lil Ominus was cool with. Today, Pump and Purpp clearly aren't hot like they were back then, and Lil Ominus is still an aspiring rapper. So the whole situation is just sad. The next rapper who allegedly abandoned their rapper friend was Yeat. And no, I'm not talking about September's Rich. I'm talking about a rapper who's quite successful today with millions of streams on Spotify of his own and gave Yeat his first cosigns and opportunities within the underground rap scene, Big Baby Gucci. Yeat's first ever live performance was with Big Baby Gucci. He was awkward and Gucci was hyping him up. So Gucci gave him his first ever opportunities in the underground. And Gucci and Yeat have multiple songs together. So later on, Gucci would take credit for finding Yeat, which isn't wrong, he really did find him. But Yeat wasn't just put on by Big Baby Gucci, he was put into Gucci's group as well. Not much really came out of the group, and eventually Yeat drifted away. But once Yeat reached astronomical levels of success, some of the members, as well as Gucci, even became salty towards Yeat. Yeat's ex-roommate Aiden, who worked with him at Jimmy John's, went on Twitter trying to expose him, saying, "I was a part of Forever World with a bunch of other crazy talented creatives who for the most part are still doing their thing. Yeat met me and used me to get into Big Baby Gucci's group," basically calling out Yeat for being fake and saying he used them to get a connection in rap. When Yeat first started getting a little buzz, Gucci seemed to be happy for him, but eventually he got salty too. After Yeat posted a snippet over a beat that Gucci would normally use, Gucci called Yeat his son and said he stole his swag. And fans of Yeat even agreed Yeat's snippet sounded something like Gucci would hop on. But it became pretty clear that he was salty after he said, "My biggest regret is not signing Yeat in 2017. I could be 100 times richer than I am now." Later on in an interview, Gucci explained his relationship with Yeat in further detail.
You used to be like kind of close and cool with like Yeat?
I found Yeat like 2016, bro. Like he came to me, he didn't even have an Instagram, he had like 20 followers. And he was like on my album, and I had him on some shows, and it was cool. And then I had like somebody that was like my tour manager next to him.
So not only did Gucci give Yeat his first shows, he would also get Yeat connected with the manager that would help Yeat get his more prominent underground connections like Wildest and Summrs, which is where everything really started for Yeat. So if Yeat had signed to Big Baby Gucci, he definitely wouldn't be where he is today. So it all happened for a reason, but conversely, Yeat wouldn't have met his former manager who got him his first connections in the industry. I just wanted to include this because no one knows about it, and it shows that no one really does everything themselves and is truly self-made. The next rapper who allegedly abandoned their friend was Lil Yachty, and it was his producer friend that was with him from the very beginning of his career, Burberry Perry. Yachty and Perry were more than just collaborators or friends, they were best friends. But let's take it back to how they started working and what they accomplished together. When Lil Yachty first started getting notoriety in 2015, Yachty and Perry were constantly seen together and collabing. After all, one night, Yachty's breakout song was produced by Perry, and Perry described their friendship saying,
We're literally always together at all times. We shared a room when he took me in. He like shared his room with me, shared his clothes with me.
Back then, Fader even wrote an article about them and how powerful their relationship had been for each other, as well as how much Yachty valued it, stating, "Their success in this music has revealed a deep-rooted desire to win together, a unique kind of brotherhood that currently has the music industry's full attention. They represent the power of teens armed with an unbreakable bond." So these two were very close. Yachty even gave Perry credit for the sound he had, and said Perry was the one who created it, giving him his flowers. I do like bubblegum trap beats. Much of the credit for that sound falls on producers like Burberry Perry, who made the beat for One Night. However, as Lil Yachty transitioned from a SoundCloud figure to a mainstream figure, Perry and Yachty's collaborations began to dwindle. And when Yachty dropped Lil Bo 2 and Nothing to Prove, Perry had no contributions. But some fans attributed this to Yachty's projects where Perry had production in selling poorly and not being received well by mainstream hip-hop fans. But soon after, it was revealed that they fell out. In early March of 2018, a fan asked Yachty, "Are you and Perry still cool?" He responded, "Good question, ... It's whatever, we don't talk." And to fans, it seemed sudden. But it wasn't just Perry. A lot of newer Yachty fans don't know this, but Yachty actually had a group in the beginning of his career, consisting of 7 rappers other than himself, known as the Sailing Team. kind of corny, but it revolved around his name. They were Yachty's crew, and when Yachty first started coming up, they were seen with him everywhere. However, slowly their appearances together started fading. During this period, Yachty was at his peak, reaching a wild level of success for someone his age. He had his breakout songs One Night, Minnesota, I Spy, and Broccoli, signed a huge 360 deal, was doing ads for Walmart, and he made 8 figures in the span of about a year. And on top of that, it turns out Yachty felt like he was doing all the work within the group as well, all while they weren't taking music seriously, taking the opportunity he gave them for granted. He spoke about how the group just didn't have the same vision, work ethic, and were overall just ungrateful for how much money he spent on them.
Everyone didn't have the same vision I had for themselves. How much money I spent on these kids who don't care about themselves? You can't want something from somebody who don't want it for themselves, you know?
He even revealed how much money he had spent on them before throwing in the towel.
It got to the point where I was spending so much money, like almost $1 million trying to like create this company out of my own money. Right. And they didn't want it for themselves.
Explaining he did as much as he could for them.
Magazines and taking them on tour around the world twice, getting these hotels and these big tour buses and spending all this money on custom uniforms and video shoots.
But Perry and the sailing team weren't taking advantage of the platform and resources Yachty was providing and investing into them. And then one day he had to swallow the tough pill that
they were just really lazy. You know what I'm saying? It was like, why am I sitting here trying so hard to make you guys?
So he said, hold up.
So then I had to just scale back a little bit and kind of do my own thing, you know what I'm saying?
But looking back, he just wanted the best for them all, specifically Perry. He even said he only wanted the best for Perry.
Which I don't really like talking about my old best friend Perry. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Who I'm not that close to anymore. Yeah. I never wanted anything from him. Right. Just for him to be great. Right. You know? Yeah. But that's a long story.
He wasn't lying. He did a lot for them. Yachty put Perry in music videos, projects, and introduced him to people like Kylie Jenner, but Perry never went out by himself and made something out of his own solo career. Perry addressed his falling out with Yachty as well. In Perry's song Miss Me in 2018, people alleged Perry was talking about Yachty and the sailing team. He said, "Best friend, don't let me down. Everyone, don't let me down. Got a couple friends who I always thought were there to the end. Miss me when I'm gone." Referring to Yachty and him no longer being as close as they once were, and an alleged betrayal. But at this point, there were still a lot of details missing. Even Yachty himself said it's a long story, and wouldn't go into it further. So it's definitely complicated. But around a year later, Perry did an interview, and their discussion shed some light on how Perry was treated. And it was the same reason that causes most relationships between friends to fall apart: business, or aka money. It turns out Perry didn't get paid for close to a year for the shows he supported Yachty on Yachty's tours. You see, Perry wasn't just a support artist. He produced Yachty's breakout hit, as well as 8 songs between Lil But One and Summrs songs collectively. And these weren't just some small shows either. He was supporting Yachty at huge headline tours: Ray Shremmerd, Young Thug, and even Lil Yachty's international tour. So while Yachty was calling Perry his best friend, behind the scenes, he or his management weren't paying Perry. Perry was just getting finessed, and it happened for close to a year. There was some industry politics involved in their falling out too. Perry had signed to the legendary producer Rick Rubin, but Yachty had signed to Quality Control, the same label Lil Baby and the Migos were signed to. Because of that, Quality Control didn't mind finessing Perry and not paying him, because whatever would have been paid to Perry didn't involve giving QC a cut, where a percentage of Yachty's money was. So this financial situation was probably a large part of their fallout, and it definitely created a lot of tension. As I mentioned earlier, when Lil Yachty dropped Teenage Emotions, the project received mixed reviews, and it was clear that his childish old sound that fans like me reminisce over now was not going to cut it moving on, and he had to evolve. So as Yachty got closer to Quality Control, his sound got influenced by Migos and the label, and it became darker. So that, mixed with the other personal issues, just led to Burberry Perry and Yachty splitting ways. However, neither Yachty nor Perry fully addressed the situation. And in late 2018, Yachty confirmed that the two were cool again on his Instagram story. By that time, it had been 2 years since the once best friends had collabed together, and Yachty even stated they might make a comeback. And then, in January of 2019, Yachty and Perry performed together after squashing their beef, and fans were begging them to collab again. But they never did. Their relationship was over. And today, Perry has 6,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and hasn't produced for any rappers in years, which is sad to see. But you can't fault Yachty. Perry had to stand on his own 2 feet, and he failed to do so. So I'd say how Yachty chose to cut his losses with the sailing team was justified, but I can't speak on his falling out with Perry because we still don't know the full story, just that they both had their own faults of their own. The final rapper on this list who switched up was TjX6. TjX6 was a rapper from Detroit, Michigan who popularized scam rap a couple years ago. He went viral after his song Swipe Story dropped and was pretty popular for a year, getting cosigns from mainstream rappers like Lil Yachty and Lil Uzi Vert. And while TJ was coming up, he had a best friend friend in rap, Quan. Was like his big brother at the time, the one who taught him how to rap, gave him his name, and more. They were practically a duo, dropping songs that would reach millions of views. But how did they get to this point? Because there was a lot that led up to the moment. Originally, TJ was a fan of Keisha's raps and would work for him.
I ain't gonna lie, he was a fan, really, I'm already Quan at this point, so this is just a little guy named TJ. You know what I'm saying? He ain't rapping or doing nothing.
TJ, inspired by Keisha, wanted to rap himself.
I want people to f me and shit. I want to rap. You feel me? And then he started rapping for me.
Keisha was actually the first scam rapper, and he's literally been rapping since 2014. So Keisha decided to help TJ out because he was like a little brother to him and gave him the blueprint.
Got a rap, gave him his Instagram, gave him the name for his rap name. Start taking him to all the studios and I just made him start rapping.
He wasn't even thinking about success.
I mean, I didn't know he had potential, but this just my boy and he want to do it too.
Going as far to write TJ's songs.
Like, people don't even know some songs that he made. I damn near wrote that. So a lot of people don't know most of the songs he did. I personally wrote some of that.
They eventually started working together a lot and dropped some of their most popular singles, like Dynamic Duo. But TJ had that it factor and started blowing up fast. His career took off and Keisha stagnated.
Blew up or whatever, and then it's kind of like he just blew up crazy after that. But like, I ain't blow up how he blew up though. Like, his crazy. He got signed to a real label and everything, Atlantic Records.
Big artists were reaching out to TJ.
Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi, everybody tapping in, listening to it like, damn.
But despite TJ getting all the attention, Keisha was happy for TJ. However, quickly after receiving so much success and popularity, TJ began acting weird. They were a duo before, but after TJ signed for $1 million, he wouldn't even promote Keisha's music.
A video on his page. He won't even post my video, like my solo video, because he was already going crazy. So I'm like, I'm trying to get up there with you.
Like Keisha was when he was bigger than TJ. Keisha felt it was the least TJ could do.
This was my little bro. Like, he ain't had no money. Like, I was the one giving him money to and making sure he eat every day, him and his girl.
He wasn't expecting anything financially, just support. But TJ kept telling him he would help him out.
And it's the fact that you told me you were going to give me 50K. It's not like I expected something. You told me this. You know what I'm saying?
Keisha had actually stopped doing fraud and other illegal activities and was just relying on music to pay the bills. Originally, TJ was doing the same with them, and together they were making exorbitant amounts of money from what they were used to, back before TJ was signed. So after TJ got signed and noticed Keisha was selling cheap features, he called him up immediately.
People was looking at it sideways, but he called me one day because I had like $500 features up. He called me like, delete that shit. I'm like, what you mean? He like, I'm about to send you something. I'm like, what you about to send me? He like, bro, I'm about to send you something.
And then showed him the money that was in his bank account.
Send me a screenshot with his bank account in there, his real name on that shade. Welcome such and such on that. He like, that check just hit. He had $800,000 in his bank account.
Keisha was just happy for him. But despite telling Keisha he would give him $50,000, he didn't. And even worse, stopped promoting Keisha's music. Months went by. And instead of helping him out like he promised, TJ was flexing on him.
I was in like 4 months went by. I ain't received not even $500, bro. You feel me? Like nothing. Like I ain't received $500. 4 months go by, balling, up. I ain't got. I'm just waiting on my turn.
And this entire time, they were still good friends, constantly seeing each other. So towards the end of their friendship, things got really bad. One time
I had $0, bro, and I was texting this like, damn, bro, let me get like 500 real quick. I'm trying to get some weed, get some food. You feel me? Chill for the day. No text back for 2 days. I got $0. You just got a whole 8. Like, what happened to all them dreams you was telling me?
So Keisha had helped TJ when he had nothing, but when the tables were turned and Keisha was at his lowest, TJ abandoned him.
But like I say, this is a that I, put in the game for real. Like, you my peoples, you feel me? Sleeping out of motels and all type of crazy shit. I'm coming through paying for that shit.
So they fell out because Keisha felt completely neglected and abandoned by TJ, saying if it were him, he would have tried to get his friends signed as well. The label did do one thing for Keisha though.
They threw me $50,000, bro, for a distribution deal.
But it didn't help him, and the advance was a loan, lowering the amount of money he made every month significantly. And even though he recouped all the money he owed, he's still technically under contract because it was for 3 years. But Keisha did get the last laugh though, or maybe a little chuckle. The last time they ever met, Keisha stole $30,000 from TJ.
He got finessed. I finessed that 30K.
He told TJ to come to the studio.
I told the nigga pull up to the studio to do a video. So the go to the bank, get the 30,000. He take pictures, post it onto his Instagram and all that.
And during the shoot, asked TJ to hold the cash.
Let me see that 30,000 real quick so I can put that in the video, because I was shooting a video.
Long story short, he ran off with the money, and TJ didn't even try and ask what happened.
So we go down the street and do the scene. I just took the bag with the 30K and I never pulled back up. He ain't never called me, text me, nothing.
At this point, K-Shirt had enough, and he was just salty, saying TJ was just ungrateful for what he did for him.
You ain't investing to you ain't do nothing. You got $1 million. You ain't throw, even though you ain't obligated to throw me. But this is what you told me. You were the man of your word.
Even 10K Kev, TJ's adopted brother, was asking TJ why he wouldn't give him some money.
Living out of motels, bro. Wearing my Miris. Most was on his page, that was my shit. He ain't got no car. I was the picking him up.
Often rappers want to promote their music that they put their blood, sweat, and tears into as much as they possibly can, and rightfully so, with the hopes that they get some new exposure that leads to more fans and listeners. However, sometimes after receiving just a little bit of attention, they can go to some pretty extreme lengths, because as we all know, clout is a hell of a drug. My name is Rashad Bashir, and in this video, we're gonna go over rappers who took publicity stunts too far. The first rapper who took a publicity stunt too far was Kid Trunks, a rapper famous for being an original member of the late XXXTentacion's group Members Only, alongside rappers like Ski Mask the Slump God. Hailing from Broward County, Florida, he was right there by X's side and witnessed X go from an underground rapper to a superstar. But after X passed, Trunks and the rest of X's group had a tough time in maintaining relevance, and the members' solo careers were doing horribly. But not all of them could cope with their fall off. Some, like Trunks, missed attention. So in the beginning of 2022, Kid Trunks posted a suspicious post to Instagram saying, "Long live Trunks and long live Jase," pretending that he had died. Of course, the post immediately got tens of thousands of likes, and fans were wondering what happened. But later, he claimed that he was hacked, so fans thought, fair enough, and forgot about it. But this quickly spiraled into a series of stunts. On his Instagram story, he said he caught COVID-19, and he even made a GoFundMe to help with his hospital bill. By the way, that was fraud, so he had to delete it. But he was getting a huge surge in follower count and a lot of attention from fans, so he decided to continue and take the lie even further. He came out and said he'd been diagnosed with cancer during a medical examination. Fans and other members from his group were devastated, praying for him. Trunks was like X's little brother, who he had taken in when Trunks was 15. And X had one of the most diehard fan bases ever, so anyone connected to him will always get attention from XXXTentacion fans. Trunks knew this and decided to exploit their kindness. A week after, on Reddit, Trunks made the announcement, "The procedure to remove this cancer is coming up soon, so wish me luck. I'll keep you guys posted. I love you guys," while also saying he was getting better. And I love how the mods gave him the tag certified liar. So the cancer was getting better after only 1 week, which to say the least was very unusual. And then in one more week, he made a post on Instagram saying, "Thanks to all the doctors who took care of me for 7 weeks straight in the ICU. They told me I had a 2% chance of making it, but I did, and most importantly, all my fans who helped my spirits up and prayers in your mind. If you're ready for a novel, album, and full story, comment cancer, because we destroy it." He later edited the post to say, "PS, at Nova Men kept me fresh in the ICU." Sliding in a sponsorship after you had been diagnosed with cancer is wild, but hospital bills are expensive, I guess. And just like that, Trunks' cancer was magically cured in 2 weeks. But not everyone watching was a 12-year-old XXXTentacion fan. YouTubers like Bobalam and Jamari began calling Trunks out for lying, and fans were starting to catch on. Trunks realized he had to regain the fans' sympathy, so he quickly came up with another lie. He decided to tell fans he got shot. He posted some pretty gruesome images with the captions, "Pray for my family, almost died 2 times, and it's only been 3 months of 2022. SMH, first this cancer stuff, and now this. Put the guns down, man. This stuff is real out here." I feel bad for naive X fans who just thought he had some of the worst luck ever, getting COVID, cancer, and then getting shot all in the span of a month, like a movie. And just like Trunks expected, fans were on his side once again. But not for long, because this lie wasn't crafted very well. Almost immediately, he would be called out on Twitter, and pretty soon, it became pretty clear it wasn't real. It wasn't looking good for Trunks. Trunks' own friends couldn't get behind the lies, and he had to try something else. His own close friends even started calling him out. Base Santana tweeted, "Sad I want to help, and I tried to help, but at this point, I gotta separate myself. I love all my brothers, man, and hopefully everybody can allow the help they need." But Trunks, well, he kept going and posted screenshots of Young Thug, Trippie Redd, T.I., and Billie Eilish, a very interesting combination of rappers by the way, and singers, all wishing him well. Another rapper I consider my close friend, Trippie Redd, early morning talks be the best. Young Thug, always making sure I'm straight, love you brother. Young Thug does not know you, bro. T.I. definitely did not know him either. Wise words from the wizard himself. And Billie Eilish, thanks for the checkup, sis. Yeah, there's no way she knew him either. And it might seem obvious in hindsight, but a lot of fans believed it, until they began noticing his hair was different in every FaceTime call. And it turned out he was faking FaceTimes of celebrities checking up on him. And trust me, you're not the only one getting secondhand embarrassment. But Trunks, blinded by the clout, would just go on like it was all real on social media, as if his lies weren't falling apart.
Have y'all been in the hospital for 5 weeks and then almost died and then came back to life? I was watching Juice's documentary. I seen him snort the Purpp, and then I was like, let me try it. I did that. I overdosed. The studio called the ambulance. They found out I had COVID, and then they found out I had pneumonia, and then they found out I had C-word. I told y'all the story. Let me get 100K likes, please.
He got clowned once again by the same YouTubers, once they realized they were right all along. Jamari and Boblam, and he deserved it. Often people say all publicity is good publicity, but in this case, it was literally all bad. Nothing good came out of this. His music still performed horribly, and of course, lying about getting shot when your best friend was shot and killed just a couple of years ago is sad. But to his defense, he did take accountability for his actions, which is hard to do, and came clean, finally dropping the lies in an apology. First, addressing it in written form on his Instagram story. To all my fans, family, and friends, you guys deserve to hear the truth, and as a man, I will speak on everything that's been going on. In due time, please be patient. I need to take a lot of time off social media for now. But turn on your notifications once I go live, and you'll see I'm sorry. First of all, he doesn't really have fans, and second of all, he was still trying to get high off clout, which is pretty sad. And then on Instagram Live, he said, first, he apologized.
First of all, I do want to apologize for what I said about me getting shot. I did not get shot. I'll just be real with y'all. Like, I apologize for lying about getting shot. I apologize for lying about having lung cancer.
And then he explained what really happened when he was in the hospital.
I had a seizure in the hospital, and I had the COVID mask over my face, and I was straining myself. And the you know, they have a metal string in the COVID mask, and it popped out and I cut from the chin.
And blamed the way he acted on his issues with substance abuse.
You know what? I wasn't thinking, and not just that, I also have a very bad addiction, you know what I'm saying? And that leads me to do very impulsive things, you know? And I felt that my career was going down. Like, I feel like I wasn't getting as much love as I used to be. They say clout is a hell of a drug, but drug is a hell of a drug.
And explain he does have some type of cancerous thing growing in his body.
I have a abscess growing in my chest and in the back of my brain that is cancerous. So the one thing that I did lie about is having lung cancer. I don't have lung cancer. I have a cancerous abscess growing in my chest and in the back of my brain. But I do not have lung cancer, neither do I have that bullshit pneumonia cancer that I was lying about.
But to him, it all really boiled down to him being on drugs, and that we should all forgive him.
I was just off the drugs. I got my phone at the wrong time. And yeah, man, like, bro, just me just overdoing myself, and like
But he was obviously smart enough or cognizant enough to make up the lies, so to me it was all a planned scheme, not an impulsive act, which makes it even worse. You don't just fall into something like this, you continue to do it, including embarrassing the late XXXTentacion, who provided him the platform and career he had to spread these lies. After this, it was clear Trunks was trying to save his career, but it was too late, and today he's definitely fallen off. The next rapper we're gonna take a look at is Lil Uzi Vert, who has an extensive history of publicity stunts. He's made jokes before saying he'll join the 27 Club, which is a group of popular musicians and actors who didn't make it past 27 and even died at the age.
Listen here, at age 27, I will leave this earth for this man right here. He's the Pale Emperor.
Hold on, let me explain something to them real quick. Before everybody starts screaming and saying, oh, like I told y'all earlier, you must have entered the rapture. And if ain't nobody flying up to heaven right now, obviously all y'all is going right with me. So let's get it.
He was trying to get fans to show him more love or something. So he's been saying things for attention for a while, or at least you could say he did. But the first time he really started doing antics for attention was when he faked going into retirement. Today, Lil Uzi saying he'll go into retirement has almost become a meme because of how much he mentions it. But years ago, people actually took it seriously because it was for the first time. And it all began during the rollout for Eternal Atake. After Lil Uzi dropped Love Is Rage 2, there was a huge delay between that album and Eternal Atake, which back then were allegedly due to issues with Uzi and his label. Uzi was frustrated and one day announced he had a enough of the music industry and was retiring. He posted randomly, "I want to take the time out to say I thank each and every one of my supporters, but I'm done with music. I deleted everything. I want to be normal. I want to wake up in 2013. Thank you, love you. You are free." And to this day, if you go to his tagged posts on Instagram, it's stuck at pictures of him from 2013. Fans and critics were obviously shocked by Uzi's announcement of his retirement. He was arguably at the peak of his career at the time, and the entire industry was taking it very seriously.
Actually announced that he is quitting music. He is over. He is done. He claims to have deleted everything. So it's kind of unfortunate, you know, even for somebody who's not really a gigantic Lil Uzi Vert fan, because I would like to see everybody improve over time.
Even the hip-hop legend Nav announced he was quitting music because of Uzi, but some people weren't buying it from the jump. Uzi said he was retiring due to not being paid as much as he'd like, and if you just look at his car collection, worth $2 million, he clearly had everything he wanted. This was around the Free Uzi era, where he dropped a music video independently to protest his label. However, soon, details started surfacing that made fans raise their eyebrows to Uzi's claims. Uzi had dropped the single Free Uzi to protest his label, but it turned out it was distributed by Atlantic Records before it was allegedly taken down from them, and wasn't a leak. Furthermore, people thought that Uzi was in a horrible contract, and that he wasn't making much money from the deal. But there was information out that out of the $5 million XO True Life had made, Uzi had made $1 million, which is normal for artists of Uzi's size. He then started beefing with the people who signed him, claiming they were holding his music back and not letting him drop, saying, "I still got love for Don Cannon with his fake you s***. I want to be just like you when I grow up. And if y'all do sign to a major, don't sign to a rapper or DJ. It's just easier when it comes time for that fake stuff." Hinting that DJ Drama and Don Cannon were holding his music back. But not only were Don Cannon and DJ Drama the people who not only got him to the success he had reached at that point, they had also negotiated one of the best record deals in rap for a rapper of Uzi's size in a long time. So once again, Uzi was hunting for attention, which is when he dropped the Free Uzi single. So yeah, these were publicity stunts. However, Uzi's pretty good at manipulating his fans, so once they found out he was lying, he didn't face any consequences. In fact, the whole retirement thing definitely worked, because Uzi had one of the most memorable rollouts in the past decade in rap, and the amount of hype he built for Eternal Take using these stunts was crazy. And to this day, he still hints at retiring from music. He's already dropped 2 projects, and spoiler alert, he hasn't retired. Then, in a performance after Pink Tape, he said again, However, he went on to promote 2 projects, Love is Rage 3 and Barter 16, and then removed them both from his bio, hinting they would never drop. But his publicity stunts didn't end with faking his retirement, because in 2022, he had, in my opinion, the publicity stunt of the year, the pink diamond. In February of 2022, Lil Uzi shocked the internet when he revealed his new piercing in a snippet with the rapper NGYL, and instead of a ring, he had placed a diamond on his forehead. The diamond was inspired by Steven Universe, a cartoon character with a gemstone in his belly button. He revealed the diamond was permanently pierced, and he had to undergo a procedure to get it implanted, explaining that it was originally planned for a ring, but he was scared he would lose it, so he had the bright idea to put it in his forehead. The thing is, this wasn't an accident. It came after Uzi announced his next album, The Pink Tape. So just like with Eternal Take, Uzi was once again using a publicity stunt to garner attention to his music. He said, "I've been paying for a natural pink diamond from Eliante for years now. This one stone costs me so much I've been paying for it since 2017. That was the first time I saw a real natural pink diamond. A lot of millions on my face." How many millions exactly? 27 million for a single diamond. He even shot an unreleased music video for a song Movie with the diamond in his head. The whole internet reacted to it. Young Thug said,
"Y'all got to spend 24 million on their heads. Put 24M on the front of their head."
He eventually got it surgically removed, but put it on for a show again, and it did not go well. During the show, he jumped in the crowd and excited fans ripped it out of his forehead. Fans were worried because he previously said that if it was taken out wrong, he could die. Luckily, he was able to retrieve the gem and was still alive, but it made him bleed, which led to the iconic picture of the diamond and his bloody forehead. This was cool and definitely a publicity stunt, but today he has a scar on his forehead, which to me says he took it way too far, because if you look in the mirror and see a scar on your forehead, you might have to admit that you took one of your publicity stunts a little too far. Later on, it turned out Lil Uzi lied about the diamond's price after a jeweler exposed him.
"Yo, Lil Uzi, why are you sitting here saying it's a $27 million pink diamond in your forehead when it's a $150,000 lab? Are you trying to dupe the kids, Uzi?"
So essentially, Uzi lied for clout. Lil Uzi's antics clearly were just poking fun and for promotion, and it didn't hurt anyone, but his reputation as a liar and of someone who takes part in gimmicks did hurt him, because today it's hard to take him seriously when he makes a claim, and fans don't know what to believe. The next rapper, or rappers I should say, who took publicity stunts too far were Lil Pump and Smokepurpp. After Lil Pump and Smokepurpp fell off, they had to resort to some pretty sad tactics to get attention for their music, and in this case, it was for Lil Pump's sophomore album, Harvard Dropout, and it wasn't like when they were up and coming, just having fun and being stupid. It was forced and cringe. Just see for yourself. At first, Pump said,
Smokepurpp, stop playing with me, man. I created SoundCloud. Stop fucking playing with me. Purpp, bro, stop playing with me, bro. I'm the first to introduce you to Ronnie Day. Bonnie J, DJ Carnage, and Travis Scott.
Purpp fired back,
boy, you better stop playing. I wrote and produced all your first songs. You talking about? Man, listen, I'm not playing with you no more. I need all my money, all my royalties, man. I need all my money. Gucci Gang, that was my song. I gave you that song. I gave you your first big hit.
Then Pump said,
bro, what the you talking about? That same flow you use on that. Dude, that's my flow. That's my song. I don't even know what you talking about. Bro, when I used to stay in Miami, and you ain't have a spot to stay in, I let you stay in my crib, you just sleep in my basement.
And it was pretty obvious this was all really fake, and they never even had to address that they were cool again, because everyone knew it was fabricated to hype up Lil Pump's album, Harvard Dropout. And it kind of worked, because it sold 48,000 copies, not because of this cringy beef though. So if you're still watching, let this be a lesson to you to just be genuine and not try and take shortcuts for attention, because it never really ends well. With Whole Lotta Red, Playboi Carti earned his first ever #1 album on Billboard, a huge achievement, cementing himself as a superstar in rap, and to most of his fans has undoubtedly reached SoundCloud Hall of Fame status. But beyond his accolades, the glitz and glamour, lies a narrative of ups and downs, marked by betrayals and shifted allegiances. In fact, before he reached this level of popularity, there were numerous figures that gave him a lot of help that he not only used, but completely abandoned afterward, routinely. And the list is extensive. I'm Rashad Fashir, and today we will be looking at rappers that Playboi Carti abandoned. The first collaborator of Carti's that he abandoned was Ethereal. Before Playboi Carti was even buzzing on SoundCloud, he was friends in high school with a producer named Ethereal. Ethereal would help Carti get his music career going, producing some of Playboi Carti's earliest music, dating back to 2014, and producing Carti's earliest official song on SoundCloud, Young Zanho, as well as a handful of songs that got Carti on the map.
School, I met up with my Ethereal. And then since then, you know, we just clicked up.
Ethereal even got Carti his first major co-signs in the underground from Awful Records, a group Ethereal was a part of and that Carti would join later on in his career. Ethereal also produced one of Carti's first songs to be distributed to streaming platforms, Beef, a landmark single in Carti's career. And in an interview, Ethereal explained he did whatever he could to get Carti where he wanted, saying, "I'm lucky to sit back and think I used my production to get Carti wherever he wanted." At that time, Carti valued his relationship with Ethereal just as much, saying, "Ethereal is a legend. Without him, I don't know where the fuck I'd be." So it's safe to say Ethereal was an integral part of Carti's success, except soon after, Carti and Ethereal didn't seem to really be working much, actually at all. Ethereal's most popular song he produced is actually Flo Milli's breakout song, Beef, a remix of a song originally produced for Carti, which is a bit sad. And today, it's been almost 8 years without hearing anything from the two. Ethereal was a part of a collective known as Awful Records, and while he and Carti were working, he introduced Carti to the group, and Carti got the attention of the leader, Father. At the time, from around 2013 to 2015, Awful Records was a buzzing Atlanta-based rap collective in the underground, working with rappers like I Love McConan and Yeat. They had a lot of hype around that time and really saw something in Carti. So Father decided to take Carti in as somewhat of his protege.
You know, I met Father and you know, they how I rap.
While Carti was a part of Awful Records, Father and Awful promoted him heavily, featuring Carti on their channel, producing for him, and scored Carti his first underground hits. Carti even referred to himself as
it's your boy Cash Carti of Awful Records.
So Father and Awful Records really put on for Carti, jumpstarting his career, and without Awful Records, Carti wouldn't even be an underground rapper. Things were going well for him, and Carti dropped some of his most well-known music from early in his career under Awful Records, like Broke Boy, Mercedes, and By Myself. Carti was also collaborating with other members of the group, like Father and Slug Christ, on songs like Fake AF and I Got Depressed Hoes. Slug Christ, one of the other members, even called Carti his little brother. In the summer of 2015, Awful took Carti on tour with them, which was his first time performing. But Carti and Awful weren't always on the same page, and Carti didn't fully fit in due to their age gap. But nevertheless, sometime during 2015, Father decided he wanted to sign Carti and make it official. but Carti had already been introduced to Ian Connor, who he quickly became best friends with. Ian Connor had become pretty big at the time and had a lot of connections in the music industry, and must have thought Carti deserved to be more than in just an underground rap group. So the day Father was about to sign Carti officially, Ian Connor caught wind and told A$AP Rocky and the A$AP Mob to hurry up and get Carti.
But I think he was already talking to Rocky.
So they flew him out, and the rest was history. Carti never formally said goodbye to Awful Records, and actually disrespected them quite a bit. He stole one of Awful Records' merch designs, prompting Father to get mad. And in an interview, he explained,
I was never Awful Records. I was never Awful Records.
And that
I was never signed to Awful, man. I've always wanted to be a boss. I made myself a boss, but Father know that.
Despite previously repping them. And that was that. He was never seen with them ever again. The next people Carti abandoned were his OG producers, who he worked with heavily from 2016 to 2017. Carti's first breakout song was Broke Boy. It's his first solo song that hit streaming platforms under his profile, as well as the first to introduce many to his music. And the song was produced by the legendary underground producer Mexico Dro. Mexico Dro also produced another big song of Carti's early on, Plug with Rich the Kid and Kodak Black, as well as songs like Money Counter, Chill Freestyle, and many more. So it's pretty clear that Mexico Dro produced some of Carti's biggest hits early on and some of his most memorable music, propelling him to where he was before he had his breakout mainstream hits. For a while, things were going well. They were seen in the studio, having fun, and Carti and Dro were very close collaborators for a short time. There are even videos of them freestyling together. However, things got sour fast. It turned out Playboi Carti was not paying Dro for any of the work, and when Mexico Dro asked Carti to be paid for his work, Carti refused. Mexico Dro got really mad. He'd go on a tirade on social media, calling out Carti for moving out of Atlanta, calling him a and calling him out for claiming to be part of something he wasn't. He'd go on Twitter saying, I ain't got shit coming with Playboi Carti. Carti said, I love Mexico Dro, we good, trust, 100 emoji, 100 emoji. Carti then previewed a snippet produced by Mexico Dro, and Mexico Dro told him to take the song off his album and then called Carti a and broke. However, Mexico Dro wasn't the only one to call Carti broke. It turns out Carti wasn't paying any of the producers he was working with heavily, including Milan Makes Beats and Chinatown, two other producers Carti was working with a lot early on, who have a lot of classics with Carti and Carti fans' eyes. So in 2017, Milan Makes Beats called out Carti for not paying him for his work, and Carti got mad at him and threatened Milan, saying he couldn't wait till he found him, and calling him other derogatory terms, and just being an asshole. Carti was doing very well, so Milan's demands weren't even too much.
Yo, Carti, you're signed, you're doing great. You're still performing the song you never paid me for. You're doing 1 million shows every month. Can I get some money?
Milan just wanted credit and to be paid. And when Carti spazzed out, Milan told Carti to stop hitting him up. Carti called Milan a peon. Furthermore, it turns out Carti was even trying to find out where Milan lived, going as far to offer money to people close to Milan and got mad when a friend of Milan's didn't give out Milan's info. Carti has even more threatening messages, but it can't be shown because this is YouTube. To make matters worse, Milan was led on by Carti and his label that he was going to be on Carti's album. And when Carti's album came out, Milan wasn't on it. Carti blocked Milan and refused to give Milan even a sweatshirt. This was actually quite big news at the time, being discussed by academics and Joe Budden on Complex and multiple other rap news channels. Carti's issues with producers like Mexico Dro and Milan Makes Beats was actually the reason for the delay on his debut album, self-titled. There wasn't much after that, and it didn't affect Carti negatively at all. In fact, Carti's fallout with these producers actually led him to working with another producer, Pierre Bourne, who he recorded his biggest early hits on, which ironically, he stole as well. The next people Carti abandoned were the other members of a group he was a part of, Splur Gang, with Uno the Activist and 1000 Man Fani, two rappers Carti was very close with in the beginning of his career, and one even as a child, Uno the Activist. Uno was Carti's blood cousin, and Fani was a very close friend of both. Uno and Carti knew each other since they were babies, and went to school with each other, and Uno is even in Carti's first music video. They dropped some underground classics, like the song Splur Gang itself, and Uno and Carti had some of Carti's biggest songs at the time, like Velo and Thug and What. Many of the songs became SoundCloud classics, but like many of Carti's relationships, failed to last. It began when Carti began to align himself with A$AP Rocky and the A$AP Mob, and started to be seen with Uno and Fani less. But things were still going smooth, as Carti and Uno dropped Velo and Thug, repping A$AP's brand Velo, and What was posted to A$AP Rocky's YouTube channel. However, things would go south when Bloody Dior, Carti's friend and affiliate of the A$AP Mob, shot Uno the Activist. But instead of siding with his cousin and close friends like everyone else on planet Earth, Carti was indifferent and remained friends with Bloody Dior and the mob, even calling Dior his big bro, who he's still friends with to this day. Uno and Fani were furious that Carti wouldn't stand up for them. Uno went on Twitter and said Carti sold his soul for fame, calling him a devil worshipper, and said Carti was getting for fame. He went on to say that Carti told him he could steal Uno's style because they were family, but when it came time to defend his family after being shot, Carti was never seen with Uno again. At the time, Uno dropped multiple diss tracks on Carti and others who were affiliated with Carti in retaliation, like the Free Smoke series, and multiple songs where he spoke about Carti's betrayal. And then, in a crazy turn of events, Carti got mad at Uno for being mad at Carti for not defending him, and DM'd him saying Uno was using Carti's name for attention, and that he didn't have to be cool with anyone, and called Uno a legion. There's much more to this beef, so if you want to find out the full story, watch my video on Splur Gang, the story of Splur Gang. But after that, it fizzled out, and Carti had left 2 other of his collaborators in the dust. The next person Carti quote-unquote abandoned was Ian Connor. Back in 2016, Carti and Ian Connor were best friends. Carti even has a song called Ian Connor. Not only that, Ian Connor helped Carti get a buzz by promoting his music as well as introducing him to the ASAP Mob and ASAP Rocky. So Ian was the one that got Carti all the connections he needed to take the next step in his career. But in 2017, allegations against Ian Connor started coming out, and in 2020, they rose to almost 33 women. And once Ian Connor started getting scrutinized, Carti swiftly disassociated himself from him, and hasn't really been seen with him since. He even spoke on it saying, "I distanced myself from everybody. I'm grown as hell. I can't be hanging around. I gotta grow up, and I gotta stay focused on what I got." In this case, he kinda did switch up, but it was just a smart decision, because 33 allegations is pretty wild. However, Carti and Ian Connor are still friends, they just aren't public about it. At least Carti isn't. On Twitter, fans clowned on Ian for being left behind by Carti, and he definitely felt some type of way about it because in 2022, Ian Connor revealed he owns 5% of Carti's music, likely meaning the label gave him 5% of Carti's royalties when Carti originally signed with Interscope. So did Carti leave Ian behind? Due to his allegations, it's pretty clear what he had to do, but I'll leave it up to you. The most important person Ian Connor introduced Carti to was ASAP Rocky. Rocky must have realized Carti was special because he wasted no time signing Carti, signing him to Interscope under Rocky as well as Rocky's label AWGE, ASAP Worldwide Greatness Entertainment, a creative collective and record label founded by Rocky. And the two quickly became close. Rocky got Carti 2 features on the ASAP Mob's Cozy tapes, and then gave Carti a feature on Carti's debut album. The two would be seen frequently hanging out with each other, and Rocky even took Carti with the Mob on tour in 2017, as well as promoting Carti's releases on his YouTube channel to give Carti more exposure. He was doing whatever he could to get Carti to where he was. That same year, Rocky got Carti 2 more features on the Mob's second collaborative tape, and Rocky put on for Carti so hard that year, he even got Carti a Lana Del Rey feature. But Rocky didn't stop at music. He connected Carti with notable figures outside the music industry, like Raf Simons,
Hey, I want you to be Playboi Carti.
and Virgil Abloh, rest in peace. However, once Die Lit dropped and Carti began working on Whole Lotta Red, he wasn't seen with Rocky at all and seemed to distance himself from him. But fans just believed he was trying to stand on his own without a major cosign, and it seemed like they were still on great terms. At the end of 2022, Carti and Rocky were gonna drop music again, or at least it looked like it, because Rocky posted a new song of theirs on his Instagram. And it was their 11th public collaboration, either released or leaked. At first, Carti and ASAP fans were going crazy. They hadn't heard music from the two officially in years, and it was on a drill beat. But it wasn't what it seemed, according to Carti's camp, and it didn't take long for drama to ensue. It turned out Carti wasn't happy with the song. To him, it was a leak. One of Carti's henchmen said screw Rocky. He played out, screw that ASAP, and said that leaking was gonna cost Rocky. Apparently, Carti didn't even know the song had leaked. They claimed the sample wasn't cleared, and now that it was leaked, it was never gonna be able to drop, even claiming that it wasn't even Rocky's song. According to them, Rocky leaked Carti and his song, Our Destiny, and then lied about it already being leaked. He said that hackers had already got their hands on the song, so he put it out himself before they leaked it. Carti's minions snapped back, claiming Rocky had used Carti to promote his new drink. Rocky snapped back, and at Rolling Loud he performed the song, and told the crowd to not forget Carti is still signed to AWGE, and it's unclear where the two stand. While this beef was going on between Rocky and Carti, Pierre Bourne, Carti's ex-main producer, chimed in, saying, "Don't bite the hand that feed you," referring to the beef with Rocky. Once again, Carti's minion took to Twitter, saying, "Screw Pierre, I had to beg Carti to let you in the studio," explaining that Carti didn't even want to work with Pierre anymore. A clear diss towards Pierre, the man behind Carti's entire sound, for years. However, tensions between Carti and Pierre had been around for a while by this point, all the way back to Whole Lotta Red. Prior to Whole Lotta Red, Pierre had produced both of Playboi Carti's breakout hits, Magnolia and Woke Up Like This, as well as 6 songs off his debut album, self-titled, 15 out of 19 songs on his sophomore album, Die Lit, and multiple iconic leaks like Kid Cudi and Cancun. However, when Whole Lotta Red dropped, Pierre only produced 2 songs, and in one of the songs on Whole Lotta Red, Punk Monk, Carti said, "I thought I had Pierre, but the label tricked me." one of the most noticeable lyrics in the album. So Carti wanted to sign Pierre back in 2017 to 19 to his own label and have him under his now Opium imprint label, like artists like Ken Carson and Destroy Lonely, which would have been a great investment since Pierre was a big name as both a producer as well as a rising artist. However, Interscope caught wind of this and outright signed Pierre himself, which is why Carti thought he had Pierre, but the label tricked him when he told them about his plans to sign him. And now Pierre has his own label under Interscope, just like Carti, Sauce House. To make matters worse, Pierre and Playboi Carti's artist Ken Carson had beef, raising the tensions between Carti and Pierre. But it wasn't that one-sided. It wasn't just Carti who was annoyed with Pierre. Pierre had some words to say for himself. When Pierre dropped his album, Carti dropped his music video for Sky on the same day. Pierre got mad and tweeted, "He doesn't want to see me glow, the shit written." Carti and Pierre have a lot of overlapping fans, so Pierre thought Carti posted the music video to detract from the attention Pierre was receiving, which he might have been, I don't know. So that's a summary of every collaborator that Playboi Carti has allegedly abandoned, but he didn't completely abandon all of them. In 2022, Playboi Carti made Ethereal, his old high school friend, a part of his label Opium, and even signed him. And Ethereal said even though they haven't released anything, they're still close.
Me and him are like this, so when he needs me, he hits me up, and like, you know, like it's like we left off right where we were before, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but for most of his previous collaborators, there isn't much hope. Father from Awful Records has gone on to say that the music Carti made with ASAP and Pierre was better than what he made with Awful, and that he doesn't fault Carti for moving on because the opportunity was too large, and faults himself for not being as business-minded as he should have been. But they'll probably never speak to each other again, as a couple years ago he tried to collab with Carti, but Carti didn't respond. And after fans kept bombarding him on Twitter about a reunion, he said he had a higher chance of bringing someone back from the dead. When Mexico Dro got out of a short jail bid, he tried to work with Carti, but Carti didn't respond to his messages either. Carti's cousin, Uno the Activist, has said he's open for a reunion with Carti as well, and said their beef is squashed, but a reunion is highly unlikely. Carti is still friendly with Ian Connor privately, and seems to be on okay terms with Rocky as of recent. And in 2023, in an Instagram live, Pierre hinted he wants to reunite with Carti. But unfortunately, it looks like that isn't happening. To me, there's a higher chance of a reunion of everyone Playboi Carti abandoned in the same room together than Carti reuniting with them separately. So, did Carti abandon these people? I'll leave it up to you. To me, he definitely used some, did others dirty, but some he just grew apart from. While XXXTentacion was alive, he was a force to be reckoned with, becoming one of my generation's largest artists. And by his side was Ski Mask the Slump God, who's known as being X's best friend and right-hand man. However, what a lot of fans don't know is that X had actually gotten into a falling out with Ski Mask, and it's unknown if they ever truly made up before X died. My name is Rashad Bashir, and this is how XXXTentacion abandoned Ski Mask the Slump God, sort of. But before we talk about how Ski was abandoned, how close were these two, what did they accomplish, and how did they even meet? Ski Mask and X originally met in 2013 when they both found themselves in a juvenile detention center in Florida. X had multiple charges: armed robbery, possession of a firearm, possession of oxys, and armed burglary while resisting arrest. Ski Mask was just in there for getting caught with weed after being expelled from school. When they first met each other, they were both delinquents, literally, and they were doing whatever, robbing and selling substances.
X in juvenile jail, we both was in juvenile jail spending time, then we just was like, yeah, we need an outlet to just stop getting in trouble. All we like to do is hit licks and like do hood rap with our friends. So,
but they realized they couldn't do that forever.
Long story
all
short.
right.
Long story short, so it's just like, all right, we need to find something to do. So we was like in there just beating on.
And the rest was history. As best friends, they began making waves in underground rap and then the mainstream, putting Florida on the map, dropping countless SoundCloud classics that would eventually become huge songs when the two went mainstream. But of course, as they grew, X became the bigger out of the two. Much bigger, dropping music that would go gold and platinum and began to reach wild levels of success. And although that probably created some tension between the two, it wasn't where the rift in their relationship began. It was the accusations of X's abuse against his girlfriend at the time that made things awkward between them. Following a series of controversies, including the news of X being dropped from Capitol Records, removed off of all official Spotify playlists, and placed on house arrest, Ski Mask distanced himself from X, and it became clear that the two were no longer on good terms. It was X's behavior, which Ski Mask didn't approve of, and like many others around X at the time, distanced himself from him. At the time, X said he wasn't making music because he was just going through a dark time. But after his falling out with Ski, he took to Instagram to say,
"Announcement. If you want me to make music, tell Ski Mask to be my friend again. Tell Ski Mask to be my friend again and I will make music. Tell him to be my friend again."
So X was definitely in the wrong for using his fans to pressure Ski like this. At this point, X was just like a cult leader and his fans would do whatever he told them. Furthermore, X went on Instagram Live and explained that people in the industry, referring to Ski Mask, were taking advantage of him.
If you're an artist and you're trying to work with anyone in the industry, understand that you cannot trust anyone. People that you trust, people that are your friends, people that are close to you, the people you do business with will always try and f you over. Trust no one. Do not trust anyone. Today was a real f***ed up day for me because people I trusted with my home, people I trusted with my life had shown me today that they can't be trusted.
The thing was, Ski wasn't just some fake rapper X had collabed with in the industry. They were like brothers. So rightfully, Ski was not pleased and shot back pretty maturely, explaining why he had to do what he did.
I'll always love that alien looking name XXX. But I have to distance myself because it's like nobody would see me as an individual rapper if I don't. On top of that, that's crazy as hell.
So Ski had other reasons for separating himself from X than X's behavior towards women that were more selfish, because he thought no one would ever see him as his own individual rapper, knowing he would never really flourish as a sidekick because X was so mainstream. And he was right, because today that's what a lot of people see him as. Ski had also left X's group members only multiple times and for good in 2017 for the same reason, because he didn't want to be seen as someone who's only successful because of X, like fans thought of most members of the group. Fans accused Ski of overreacting, so he shed some more details on the situation, saying, "This is a person who has before threatened my family, told me I was supposed to be sacrificed on some crazy stuff. So no, I didn't just separate myself for no reason." So X had designated him for sacrifice, which if we're being honest is nothing out of the ordinary for rappers from Florida, and hip hop fans are actually known for this. After a rapper's best friend dies, fans will say, "You sacrificed him." But this was probably the first time a rapper said it outright that they would be sacrificing their best friend. But to X's defense, he was a bit dramatic and probably didn't mean it literally. X went back to Instagram, this time live streaming to speak on the situation with Ski even more, explaining,
"I want to be myself, and if that means I have to be ugly to look like myself, then I'll be ugly. And honestly, I'd rather be ugly and attract the real people and attract the real people around me than be what everyone wants me to look like and be around a bunch of fake guys that only want to be around me for some clout."
And that he was trying to keep away fake people, taking a shot at Ski.
Because I'm honestly tired of being used. I get used all the time. If you haven't even noticed, I don't even want to be on the internet as much because of how negative and draining it is.
And finally, reflected on his falling out with Ski.
"You need friends to help ground you and keep your mind straight." Yes, I mean, for a while, it was only me and my best friend, and it was Ski, and I don't have that, and I don't really have anybody around me I consider to ground me, to be honest. Slump said he would be your friend. I doubt it. He's fully. I doubt he said that. "You can get over this little bump in the road." I hope so. I hope that it's not permanent. But the way it's been feeling has not been feeling good.
He even specifically addressed the situation as well, calling Ski Mask ungrateful.
It was just, I guess, a lack of appreciation on his end. Not because of me, I guess just.
And said it was business dealings that got in the way of their friendship.
From a business perspective, but he put a business perspective before a personal relationship. And I've been with him as a friend and as a brother for a very long time, so I mean, it's just on some like other, to be honest. It's not even on some like.
X believed he was fully innocent.
It's not even on anything I've done wrong. He can't even say I've done anything to him. And I wouldn't go on the internet and express that if I didn't care about the relationship, but you already know how it goes.
And that he was taken advantage of by Ski, completely dodging what Ski had brought up, like a politician or something.
People use you to get where they want to go and then part ways, and I've been used a lot, if you haven't noticed.
A bit earlier, Ski had taken to Instagram to address the beef and said he was only successful because of himself.
"Hey, listen, ain't nobody write my lyrics for me, bro. Nobody write my lyrics. Nobody forces anybody to like the lyrics that I write. So nobody made me. I made my self. You did that?"
And may have even been referring to X's accusation that Ski tried to bring business into their relationship by saying,
"He's in that world. Y'all say what's up to my entertainment lawyer. He's one of the best out here."
But after all of that was said and done, X took to Instagram to say, At the Slump God, I don't care what you said about me, you know who got your back. And fans thought finally the beef might be over. But just when fans thought it was over, the script was flipped, and X turned on Ski. Regardless of X's behavior to others, he was always there for Ski, standing up for him whenever, even when Ski was in the wrong. After Ski Mask was jumped, X stood up for him and even got jumped himself. And there are countless instances of X acting in this manner for Ski. So when Ski distanced himself from X felt betrayed. In December of that year, Ski Mask reached out to X and told him he wanted to make music again. And to many fans' dismay, X wasn't having it. He took to Instagram publicly and went on a tirade. My response to the request for the song by Ski is no. I'm going to destroy all of these rappers. None of them are friends to me. They don't give a fuck about me, they just want my energy. Keeping my foot on all of them. And if anyone has a problem with it, me. Looks like they want my life anyway. So sad that I don't ever use my real power against them. I hold back so much, even with all the weight I have on my shoulders. These lames can keep up if they tried. I'm going to mentally/musically destroy my enemies. And then directed something even more directly towards Ski. I watched the people I love try to stab me in the back and use me as a platform for their own success. I will make you regret this decision. This is your final warning. I'll be back, kids. Gonna disappear to make some music. I love and believe in you all. This response was super over the top, and he was making the whole situation out like him and Ski were characters in an anime. So Ski Mask fired back and explained he was just talking about making music.
Man, I wasn't saying anything about friendship, man. I was talking about making a song, bro.
Not becoming friends again, in a silly manner. So once again, this came as a shock to fans, who thought the beef would be over soon. And it seemed that their friendship was just heading south, and they had grown apart. Wi-Fi's funeral, a member of Members Only, and someone who was close with both of them, took to Instagram to explain why they weren't best friends anymore, saying it was just life.
We're not like 17, 18 years old, bruh. Everybody is a grown ass man and is doing and living their own life.
And they had grown up.
So just because don't hang out with each other like that, or bruh, if don't even with each other like that the way how they used to, it's not on no beef. It's just like everybody just got their own life to live. That man is making millions of dollars, bro.
But just when everyone thought that the relationship was over, randomly on May 13th of 2018, XXX Tentacion and Ski Mask reunited at a show in Rolling Loud.
Hey! Yo, with the do-rag on. Yo, bro. I love you, bro.
I love you too, fam.
I love you, bro. Play that.
And to fans, it looked like things were good again. But behind the scenes, things were very different. In an interview later on, Ski reflected on the reunion at Rolling Loud, where backstage they had a brotherly argument. Talking about X, he said, "He told me that my vision was blurred. I don't remember exactly the word he used, but he said basically that my vision was blurred, that my decision making wasn't what it used to be." So while on stage they apologized and made up, backstage they were still bumping heads. He went on and said, "And I was basically like, I argued with him, but he was trying to tell me about myself and how I could do better for myself, and I wasn't trying to take it like that. I was taking it as, you're just trying to show me that you're better than me. I already know you're better than me." That's how I felt at the time. It wasn't jealousy. It was just me wanting to be my own man, seeing how much Jase was his own man. So X was trying to explain to Ski he only wanted the best for him, but Ski was insecure and couldn't take it at the time, which wasn't his fault because at times X was insecure during their friendship as well. And later on, it turned out that X didn't believe him and Ski's interaction was genuine, or at least Ski's part, because, and I'm not joking, during a live stream where X was playing League of Legends, he revealed that during his and Ski's interaction at Rolling Loud, Ski's part was fake and wasn't genuine.
That whole interaction was fake as yeah. Well, my part was real, but his was fake.
But things were still heading in a good direction, because they were on amicable terms, and they definitely would have become friends again. Except, as we all know, in June, just a month after their reunion, XXX Tentacion was shot and killed while trying to buy a motorcycle, and their relationship was never truly patched. After X passed, Ski was distraught and said he realized a lot. In the same interview, he went into more detail about their last conversation in real life before X died, saying, "It's gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna say that after Ja died, it woke me up to a lot of things. And one of those things was that I need to take my music more seriously and that I need to wake up." He really took X's words to heart and used it to better himself. "I seen that my decision making was blurred," he said. "I thought what I was doing at the time was cool and was working, but then after he died, I seen what he was saying. I was like, bruh, I was going down a bad path. My career was going down a path that if I didn't change soon, I was gonna be in a certain way forever. I see that now." So Ski basically said he was in the wrong and admitted He wasn't thinking straight, shouldn't have acted the way he did, and forgave X. But if we're being honest, he wasn't just as much of the wrong as X was. And even though they both had opportunities to patch the relationship up, unfortunately, Ski is the one who has to live with it, as he's the only one who's alive. So to set the record straight, I don't think they were beefing or on bad terms necessarily at the end, rather that they were both still in a rut in their relationship. I'm sure they would have reconciled. To me, on one hand, X's insecurities developed into controlling, erratic, and often manipulative behavior, especially back then, so it isn't hard to imagine why Ski wanted his distance, and they did reconnect briefly for the last time on camera during their Rolling Loud performance, where they performed a couple songs, and when X passed, Ski Mask was devastated. So it's clear that despite what was going on between them, they still had love for each other. Unlike artists from other genres, rappers are known for consistently dropping music, and due to that reputation, fans expect them to. However, sometimes to appease their fans, they decide to lie. Everyone has their reasons. Some are just trying to please fans, others are trying to build hype, and some just have a sick and twisted quirk. And with the newest generation of rappers, this is getting more and more popular. My name is Rashad Bashir, and these are rappers who are notorious for lying to their fans. The first artist who is notorious for lying is none other than the King Vamp himself, Playboi Carti. Infamous for his tendency to blatantly lie to his fans about anything, from music releases to his personal life to random facts. And although it's ramped up in recent years, Carti's history with lying dates all the way back to 2017. The first major lie Carti told his fans was the famous collab project between him and Lil Uzi Vert that never dropped, 1629. Carti first announced the project on Snapchat on September 17th of 2017 and then tweeted, "Uzi, Carti, Carti Uzi, tape loading," and he even went on to promise a tour. But of course, this never happened, and 6 years later, fans are still waiting for 1629. So for a couple of years, Carti was doing pretty well, keeping his promises. But when it came time to drop his third studio album, Whole Lotta Red, things got out of hand. He'd promised the album so many times, I lost count, and somehow fans thought he was going to drop every single time. The first time he lied about this album dropping was on July 28th of 2019, when Playboi Carti said he was going to drop his next album in 60 days, at a tour date for one of his shows.
I'm trying to drop my shit in the next 60 days. I'm working too hard on this moment.
Of course, it wasn't even close to dropping, and this would be the first of many lies he'd tell about Whole Lotta Red. Months later, on October 16th of 2019, Carti took to Instagram and made the post, 48 hours locked in. Almost immediately, fans went ballistic. It had been 2 years since an album dropped, and 48 hours from when the post was made would have been a Friday, which is the standard time for dropping new music. So fans thought Whole Lotta Red was about to drop. Unfortunately, it turned out this was all a lie. Carti's baby mama, also known as the 4-time Grammy nominee Iggy Azalea, took to Twitter clearing up the confusion, saying, "No, he meant that he's locked in the studio for 2 days focused, not that he's dropping Friday." And once again, fans were disappointed. So fans were forced to wait another 6 months before any news of the album. And luckily for them, in April of 2020, Playboi Carti dropped the only single leading up to Whole Lotta Red, At Meh. And after the single dropped, he went on a tweet spree, saying, "Red is my favorite album of all time," and more importantly tweeted, "Monday." So everyone thought he was dropping Whole Lotta Red on Monday. Spoiler alert, nothing ever dropped. And at the end of the year, Carti finally delivered, dropping on Christmas, the last possible week to release music in the year. After the album dropped, fans were still processing what happened after years of manipulation, and part of this resulted in people calling the album trash, as they were expecting a piece of work similar to the leaks they had heard over the years. So to appease fans, Carti decided to lead them on and tell them there would be another album. He explained there would be a new album, Molly World, but later told his fans he would be dropping a deluxe instead, with some of the songs that they wanted, writing, "Talk to me, ? What song do you need on the deluxe?" Then on Instagram, he posted a picture captioned, "I just want to drop like right now." And he kept going on about how badly he wanted to drop, and said, "Let's drop this album, we not done." Followed by, "Deluxe on the way, yes." But a couple of weeks later, which is the usual time frame for deluxe albums dropping, it didn't drop. So he explained in an interview with Rolling Stone that the deluxe was due in spring, and that's when it would release. And at this point, do I even need to say if a deluxe dropped? It didn't. Unfortunately, for Carti fans, the worst was yet to come. Following the deluxe fiasco, the lies kept coming, and it all began with his alleged next album, Narcissist. Narcissist was supposed to be the original project to drop after Whole Lotta Red, and on September of 2021, Carti made a series of cryptic posts with the Narcissist caption. The caption 9/13/21, and he announced a Narcissist tour. But when September 13, 2021 came, there was no project, just clothes on his website. But Carti fans couldn't even get that, because Carti said that his website was hacked and the clothing was just reference photos. And to try to keep fans happy, At the end of the month, he said, "Forget sample clearances, drop Narcissist." But instead of dropping music, he dropped a clothing line for Narcissist with biker helmets and other gear. And the last time I checked, you don't have to clear samples to drop motorcycle gear. But who knows, maybe Carti did. But that wasn't all he decided to lie to fans about. 2 days after the sample tweet, Carti and Uzi were both seen wearing Narcissist merch. 9 days later, Carti simply tweeted Narcissist. And in October of 2022, Carti's website had a countdown for Narcissist. As I said earlier, the clothing line was revealed, but music never dropped. And today, this is known as the tragedy of September 13th, 2021. So for a year, Carti didn't do anything, until randomly, out of the blue, on December 24th, 2022, Carti made an Instagram post of the supposed cover art for his album Music, or a lead single, and the entire Carti community was buzzing. It was the first time Carti had acknowledged this new album of his, Music, and unlike the other times, fans thought this time, something was dropping for sure, as it was the 2-year anniversary of Christmas Eve that year, 2022, and the post was a picture with an explicit sign, so it had to be a single, right? The day after, December 25th, 2022, also known as Christmas, Carti tweeted, "Hello Twitter," and "Love all my supporters, it's time." The stars finally seemed to be aligning and everybody was talking about Carti dropping. Furthermore, Carti's entire camp was going crazy on social media, hyping up this drop. His producer, Filthy, was going off on Twitter, and a bunch of Opium affiliates were co-signing the drop. But nothing ever dropped. It turned out this was all a distraction orchestrated by Carti to distract fans from what Carti had done to his pregnant girlfriend Brandy at the time, which he was arrested for, and didn't come out for several months. At this point, Carti lying about his release date had gotten so bad that a casino named Bovado Casino started accepting bets on Playboi Carti's new album release date, with proper odds and everything. Carti didn't just lie about music drops though, he even lied about touring. After multiple billboards, announcements, and even ticket sales commencing, Carti's Antagonist tour, originally slated to begin in September of 2023, was rescheduled to the following year. This had fans shocked and bewildered, as some people had taken time off their jobs for these shows and booked hotels and Airbnbs, as it had been advertised for a while. Ironically, all his lying would bite him in the back, because the tour was actually rescheduled due to low ticket sales, due to Carti not dropping. So he had to lie about the tour date because of how much he lied. Other than lying about when music was dropping and tour dates, Carti has also lied in the past about completely meaningless things, which is just hilarious. And after hearing these, you might think he's just a compulsive liar. The first being when Carti lied about being good at basketball. But not just good, so good that he didn't even have to practice and still dropped insane numbers.
Like, no rap, like, I was really on the court balling, like, really balling, been balling. I was just doing before I go to practice, get on the court, drop like 30 on like crazy, like had the city going wild.
Unfortunately for Carti, a fan found his varsity stats, and they weren't impressive to say the least. It turned out he had scored a total of 5 points per game, and he had played a grand total of 1 game. In New Tank, he also said he has tattoos on his face. He doesn't have tattoos on his face. And the worst meaningless lie is him lying about his real age. If you look up Carti's birthday, it says September 13th, 1996, but it's actually September 13th, 1995. And the reason he pushed it forward was because September 13th, 1996 was when Tupac went to a better place. So he lies about his birthday to this day to make it seem like he's the second coming of Tupac. That wraps up almost every Playboi Carti lie. He's still going. I just saw him tell a fan his album was dropping on a video on Twitter. So at this point, it's just a joke, but luckily for Carti, his fans get off on it. The next rapper who's notorious for lying is Lil Uzi Vert. But Lil Uzi wasn't always like this. He actually used to be pretty trustworthy, except for lying for things for fun on occasion. Like when he said he has thousands of songs with Young Thug. But I guess he saw his friend Carti lie and create a massive amount of hype for his album. So when Lil Uzi was about to announce his next album, Pink Tape, he decided to take a shot at it himself. He had previously lied a little bit during Eternal Take, lying that his label was holding his album back and was exposed, but on Pink Tape, he took it to a different level. In December of 2020, Lil Uzi explained he had the idea for a new album. And on July 20th of 2021, Lil Uzi Vert tweeted out Pink Tape, the name of his next album. And just a month later, in August of that year, at Jay-Z's 40/40 Club, he said he was in the middle of the mixing phase, meaning the album was done and it was just being mixed. But fans thought he was ready to drop. But soon after, he said that he needed his time and took it back. But then on October 9th, 2021, while attending a friend's wedding, he said that he would drop it right before Halloween, so in October.
The next project, probably like 3 weeks before Halloween come out.
And that he was focused on making the album perfect. However, when October did roll around, he went back on those statements, explaining to some fans on the street it wasn't dropping on Halloween. When asked if it would arrive before Halloween, he replied,
"Bro, you know it's not. It's not dropping next week." No, it's not. Then it dropped next week and then it sounds shit, and I gotta hear it, well, not from you, but then I gotta hear it from like 100,000 people on the internet. This sucks.
So you gotta let me take my time. But I'm taking my time, so it won't suck.
And once again, on December 2nd, 2021, Uzi appeared on a live stream with Kai Cenat, in which he confirmed that the album would be completed the same night. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Fans were so mad at Uzi, he even decided to apologize to his fans, saying,
I just want to let y'all know, I do make y'all wait a long time for music. And I'm so sorry. I thought it was cool before, but it is lame. I'm putting the final touches on Pink Tape, and I promise. I made a lot of promises in my life, but this time I promise.
Then in March, he finally said he was dropping, but fans thought he was lying.
Lil Uzi Vert claimed that he's dropping Pink Tape next month or by the end of this month. I think he lying. If you know Uzi, lying. Oh, no Uzi fan getting their hopes high, he don't drop, and it's like, damn, we waited all month and you ain't dropping.
So when the album was actually gonna drop, it took weeks of Lil Uzi saying it would drop for people to actually be convinced. And despite Pink Tape going #1, it was a decline from his previous album, Eternal Take. And he was later caught lying about the price of his quote-unquote $24 million diamond.
Yo, Lil Uzi, why are you sitting here saying that it's a $27 million pink diamond in your forehead when it's a $150,000 lab? Are you trying to dupe the kids, Uzi?
But right after Pink Tape dropped, Uzi said he wasn't done and decided he would tease yet another album. So I guess he took another page out of Carti's book. On his Instagram story, he said, "Get this at #1 and I'll drop the album y'all really looking for." And it looked like that was gonna happen, as soon after Uzi said Love Is 3 is dropping in a couple of months.
What about Love Is Rage 3?
Oh yeah, that's coming. Not too long. Probably, like, honestly, I know I usually be lying, but a couple months.
And even updated his bio to Love Is Rage 3. But almost as fast as he announced the album, it was cancelled. He never spoke on it again, just removed it from his bio and expected fans to forget. But Love Is Rage 2 was a classic album, so delaying an album instead of rushing it may have been a good thing, right? At least according to fans. So right after he scrapped Love Is Rage 3, Lil Uzi decided to tease a new album, Barter 16. Barter 6 was Young Thug's legendary album, and since they were so close and Young Thug was locked up, I guess Lil Uzi decided he would honor it. On Instagram, he said, "Sitting here thinking about how I went #1 on an experimental tape. My apologies. Barter 16 mixtape on the way." Uzi began going to crazy lengths to promote this album. He was teasing tons of music, in the studio with London on the track, one of Barter 6's producers. He got a Rich Gang chain and was constantly seen with Birdman. He was basically cosplaying Young Thug during his Barter 6 era, and took to Instagram saying, "Happy birthday, Young Thug. Barter 16 soon. Love you." And showed the album cover, which was an exact copy of Young Thug's, but it was Lil Uzi, and his Instagram bio was updated to Barter 16 soon. He even invited DJ Academics to the studio to tease the album, and when asked by fans, he said it was dropping next week.
Love you, Appreciate you.
When Barter 16 coming out?
Hey. 5-star G. Wait, can we get the...
He also said that if people got Lil DTE, a rapper friend of his, to 100,000 followers, he would drop a single from the album. So fans got that rapper to 100K, and Lil DTE even put it on his mother. And surprise, surprise, it never dropped. Then, all of a sudden, like nothing ever happened, he removed it from his bio as well, and has been radio silent since. On top of that, Lil Uzi has also been caught lying about his age. In July of 2021, he made a tweet saying, "Wait, WTF, I'm turning 26. My mom found my birth certificate," lying that he was a year younger than he actually was, and his Wikipedia page still says the incorrect age. Today, fans are constantly calling out Lil Uzi for being a liar, and they don't trust him nearly as much as they used to, so it didn't pan out for Uzi like it did for Carti.
I trust you, I trust you, I trust you.
Don't ever trust a person like me.
Why not?
Because I'm very slimy.
The final rapper notorious for lying is Ken Carson, Playboi Carti's artist. And I guess Carti just taught Ken Carson how to lie, or just rubbed off on him, because the moment Ken Carson began getting just a little bit of hype, he began lying straight through his teeth as well. And Ken's chronic case of lying began with the album rollout for X. X was his follow-up album to his album Project X, which was fairly successful and very well received by fans, so fans were insanely hyped for X. Ken Carson knew this, and he tweeted tons of album dates as well as the date for his lead single, Green Day, explaining it would be dropping Monday. It didn't drop on Monday. He also tweeted album dates, which are also lies, and tweeted Friday the 13th, implying his album would drop on May 13th. And spoiler alert, it didn't drop on Friday the 13th of May 13th. He then said X was going to drop on June 24th and lied once again. And after fans got mad and expressed they were mad, he became emo and tweeted, "No one believes me, WTF." But by that time, he had lied about a deluxe being on his album X called Extended, the single date, and the album date. So fans were fair to call him out. And a couple months later, it did finally drop. In addition to X, Ken was also teasing a collab album with Destroy Lonely, dating back to early 2022. Back then, he was asked by a fan when his collab with Destroy Lonely was dropping. He responded with, "Any day now." However, it's been over a year and it still hasn't dropped. But the delays for X were nothing compared to what happened with his next album, A Great Chaos, which had even more hype than the last album, due to all the snippets and Ken Carson's popularity skyrocketing. But there were so many delays and so many lies about this project that fans began calling this album a great cap. On June 25th, 2023, he released a track list, implying he was dropping soon, and the plan was for it to drop on July 17th. He even made a Finsta account to go along with the tweet, building more hype and trust. But as we got closer to July 17th, it went from July 17th to soon, meaning he wasn't gonna drop. He tweeted, "It's not me," followed by a tweet saying, "July 21st, it's over," implying he would be dropping on July 21st. And what would you know? On July 21st, no music came. So he went back to back with lies, getting the nickname Ken Capson. However, unlike Carti and Uzi, Ken Carson was not a mainstream rapper, at least yet. So fans were mad that A Great Chaos wasn't dropping and explained that they were losing interest. To add to that, they also began calling him out, saying Ken Carson's music is simply not good enough for him to be lying about releasing, and that he was too ugly to be lying to his fans like that, and called him a pathological liar. But finally, after tweeting that it would come out on Friday the 13th, just like the last year, Ken Carson did deliver and drop his album. Unfortunately for Ken, fans got their revenge the week of and leaked the album, hurting the first week's sales. Over the past 10 years, rap has undergone a massive change. From the slow, dark, old school, lyric-based rap to mumble rap with a focus on the sound of music. And this isn't a coincidence. A lot of it has to do with a handful of artists who single-handedly changed the trajectory of modern rap. However, most regular fans aren't aware of them, and during their time, they were all heavily scrutinized, and today, not really acknowledged. My name is Rishad Bashir, and these are rappers who are ahead of their time. The first rapper who was ahead of his time is none other than Chief Keef. Today, the large majority of fans of Chief Keef have only listened to Finally Rich because of how Keef quote-unquote fell off after 2012. But over 10 years later, he's still here, unlike everyone else in his lane at the time. So let's get into it. Keith Cozart, or Chief Keef, grew up on the south side of Chicago and dropped out of high school due to legal issues at 15. And before getting into legal trouble in 2011, Chief Keef was a 16-year-old budding rap star. He released the song Bang, which had more than 400,000 views on YouTube, along with a mixtape that he recorded in his friend's bedroom. While on house arrest, he started putting up a bunch of videos on YouTube that went viral on his own channel and sites such as World Star Hip Hop. And that year, 2012, Chief Keef introduced Chicago drill music to the world after he dropped his viral song, I Don't Like. The music video featured a young Chief Keef confined to house arrest at his grandma's place, dancing with his friends, and it changed rap forever. Bang was big, but I Don't Like was a bona fide hit. It put him everywhere and caused mainstream publications to take note. And the success of I Don't Like caused the entire movement of Chicago hip-hop to explode in popularity, the drill movement. A few months later, Kanye West remixed the song with Pusha T, Jadakiss, and Big Sean, introducing drill rap to the world. And Kanye also featured Keef on Yeezus on the song Hold My Liquor. So it was clear Chief Keef had what it took to be a star. When Keef finally dropped his album, Finally Rich, it was all hits, and he really had a movement that inspired people. However, it only sold 50,000 first week in physical copies, which although was good, wasn't what people were expecting. Due to his popularity at the time, anything under 100K was a flop. But back then, YouTube, the platform where Keef had hundreds of millions of streams, didn't count and streaming services didn't exist. So he was just born 10 years too early. But regardless of sales, his impact was meteoric. He was a teenager, but he had the allure of a rock star. And the man who signed him to Interscope Records, Larry Jackson, really put into perspective how big he was, saying, "Week over week at Interscope, he was the most active social media artist we had. Bigger than Lady Gaga in terms of mentions and online activity, bigger than Maroon 5, he was a social juggernaut. There was nobody who had the kind of gravitational pull he had online. He was the first." According to him, Chief Keef could have actually been Apple Music's first exclusive artist, but after he was offered the deal, he turned it down because he didn't understand how streaming worked, because of how young he was. And all of this bled into his influence, which is far-reaching and has affected an entire lane of rappers who all enjoy massive success today. Artists like Lil Pump, Playboi Carti, Lil Uzi Vert, and many more essentially built their careers on the back of a sound that Chief Keef created back in 2012. And the idea of broadcasting your life through social media as a marketing became the blueprint for artists in hip-hop streaming era, being emulated by pretty much every pop star since. The artists Keef influenced are crazy. Lil Uzi Vert was a fan of Keef when he was young and credited him in interviews and tweets. Playboi Carti took a lot of influence too. A teenage Carti took a lot from Keef, and for a long time, most of Carti's slang and ad-libs came from Chief Keef. and a young NBA YoungBoy resembled him quite a lot as well. Furthermore, he set the stage for artists like Bobby Shmurda, who blew up off hit music videos like Shmurda's Hot. Later on, Kanye even said that Future and Chief Keef were this generation's most influential rappers. So musically, Chief Keef was wildly influential, and one of his most apparent influences were through his distinct style of rapping, which came from his A flow, ad-libs, and how he used his raw voice, which basically birthed mumble rap. The A flow was popularized by Keef during his Finally Rich era, and today it's super popular in mainstream rap, from artists like Kendrick Lamar using it in Humble, and XXXTentacion using it in his smash hit Look at Me. And of course, SoundCloud artists like Carti and Uzi use it every other sentence. Moreover, Keef also redefined ad-libs, and is one of the biggest ways he influenced today's rap. The exclamations of phrases like gang gang or bang Keef used were infectious. His famous ad-lib was the A ad-lib, which came from Chief Keef, and rappers like Travis Scott, Lil Uzi Vert, and Carti became known for using it. Funny enough, in 2023, Uzi and Travis even made a song called A. And by doing this, Chief Keef expanded how ad-libs were thought of and previously used. Instead of using separate lyrics, there were backing vocals and made his songs feel full. Today, using ad-libs like this is a staple in hip-hop, and people don't realize it wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Even pop artists like Ariana Grande are using them now. The use of his raw voice is another way Chief Keef influenced the youth. You don't care that Lil Uzi Vert, Playboi Carti, or almost any other rapper who can't sing can't actually sing. Instead, you like it. And that's largely because Chief Keef normalized rappers using their natural raw voice. So combining all of these musical influences, you get mumble rap, which is why Keef is credited for not only creating drill music, but also mumble rap, which he agrees with. Moreover, Chief Keef's impact extended beyond the genre itself. He helped kick off the age of internet marketing and rap, and was one of the first artists to truly harness the power of the internet and social media to build a dedicated fan base. Chief Keef basically invented doing stupid stuff on the internet to promote your music, and people enjoyed the stunts he did. Some of the most famous stunts include posting an Instagram video of a woman giving him, telling Katy Perry to calling Lupe Fiasco and threatening to him. Even Keef's initial backstory was riddled with intriguing yet somewhat disturbing anecdotes, like how he got into with the police at only 15 years old and was placed on house arrest. But perhaps where he was most influential wasn't his music or how he marketed himself, but the culture. For example, he invented the word thought. And like this Twitter user said, today it's everywhere. Chief Keef changed the world when he introduced us to the word thought. Beyonce has said it like 30 times on this album. But not only did Keef create popular phrases, he also sparked visual trends, like in fashion. From 2012 to 2015, tons of kids copied his look, most famously making it trendy to wear True Religion. He took over to the point where everyone, even kids from the suburbs, wanted dreads back in 2016, wearing True Religion, polos, copying everything from his mannerisms, to sagging, to his stance. Even people across the globe in the UK were copying him. So at a time in the 2010s where rappers like Ludacris, Drake, and Soulja Boy were making club music, Keef started the rebellion of a new generation of rappers who went against the status quo. He was unironically a glitch in the matrix, and to me, the perfect mix of the underground and mainstream. Underground where he had the freedom to do whatever he wanted, but mainstream enough to have the exposure and impact. So what happened? Why didn't Chief Keef reach the top of the rap game and continue his mainstream success? Well, Chief Keef was a teenager, and when fame hits you young, it's hard to know how to act and take advantage of the opportunities that you're presented with. For example, he'd show up late to everything, if he even did, and was banned from multiple venues for his behavior. For example, when 50 Cent and Wiz Khalifa remixed Hate Being Sober, a huge opportunity for him at the time, Keef didn't even show up to the music video, and he was banned from the BET Awards for a decade due to his behavior. Furthermore, the allure of Chief Keef's drill scene began to lose its luster, and when it fell, so did Chief Keef. You see, after Finally Rich, Keef released a slew of mixtapes that went largely unnoticed. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Chief Keef fell off commercially, and he was dropped by Interscope, the label who could have turned him into a superstar if he played his cards right. Unfortunately, he had no one to blame but himself. He just made dumb decisions after dumb decisions, and fighting a record label never really works. To mainstream fans, his music had a massive decline in quality, caused by his newfound liking to substances, which made him slur his words and his music was less coherent. And over the years, Chief Keef has faded into obscurity and lost the huge following he garnered, which I guess is fine with him because, as this article in Complex said, Chief Keef is an icon in an industry he doesn't care for. And in 2015, Keef and his crew finally left the Chicago area for Los Angeles, where he lives today, severing all ties from the Chicago scene he created. So overall, today Chief Keef has been relegated to the title of a washed up one-hit wonder by mainstream hip-hop fans, but he's still a legend in rap and has a pretty tight-knit fan base. The next rapper who was more influential than popular is none other than the father of melodic trap himself, Speaker Knockerz. Raised in South Carolina, Speaker Knockerz began getting into rap from his dad at a young age, who was unfortunately incarcerated for 10 years and separated from him. However, despite that fact, he decided to keep going and began making beats every day after school for hours. Unfortunately, due to his issues with his mom, who told him to get a job instead, he was kicked out. So he was left with no choice, and after being kicked out, he decided to give his production his all. Pretty soon, he got pretty decent, and in just 6 months, he made $42,000. So at a young age, he began making bank, and his dreams came true. He bought a Camaro, his dream car, and according to those around him, lived like there was no tomorrow. Not only that, he had been releasing music on YouTube, and his music finally began gaining traction. Songs he dropped on his YouTube like Rico's Story, Flexin' and Finessin', and Count Up later went on to become internet hits. Knockerz was also one of the first notable internet producers and rappers. During his short career, he built a reputation working with up-and-coming rappers like Young Dolph and Shy Glizzy, and eventually began producing for Meek Mill, Gucci Mane, 2 Chainz, and French Montana, which were pretty big accolades at the time, all while releasing music himself, having the second biggest mixtape online in the same year, independently. In December of 2013, he dropped his biggest song of all time, Lonely. Almost instantly, it became a hit, going viral on Vine for becoming the audio to viral dance videos, and was played all over clubs. There's even a video of Drake dancing to it, and today, the song is legendary. The last song he ever made was Erica Kane. Although it was released over a decade ago, it still sounds like something that could be released today, which is very rare. So Speaker Knockerz was really ahead of his time. And it's safe to say that the sound he created from those internet tracks birthed the autotune SoundCloud trap sound that so many rappers blew up with later on. And his influence can be heard everywhere, from the underground to mainstream. The two most obvious ones are A Boogie with the Hoodie and the hip-hop legend Nav. Speaker Knockerz was one of the first to combine dark instrumentals and heavy autotune vocals, a style that both the hip-hop legend Nav and A Boogie blew up off of, especially the hip-hop legend Nav, who people compare songs with to Speaker Knockerz, and they sound eerily similar, the beats and vocals, which, just like Speaker Knockerz, Nav does both, produce and record himself. And to this day, fans still claim Nav copied Speaker Knockerz. Funny enough, Lil Skies and Nav were actually accused of stealing from Speaker Knockerz. A Boogie was even asked about his Speaker Knockerz influence in an interview, and he spoke about how much Speaker Knockerz influenced his sound. And a really weird crossover I just wanted to mention as well. There's a picture of Speaker Knockerz and Lil Reese with Lil Durk and Fredo Santana in the background when they were all small, but unfortunately he had beef with Chief Keef, who called his prized Camaro plastic. And being from the South, Speaker Knockerz showed people that you didn't have to make drill music if you weren't living that life. He was a bedroom rapper, not a gangster. He shed the hardened shell of drill's aesthetic and birthed his playful autotune trap sound that became huge in the mainstream, ushering in artists like A Boogie, Nav, and Lil Skies, and paved the way for many more younger rappers as well, such as Lil Tecca. His influence was crazy. Roddy Ricch credits Speaker Knockerz as one of his biggest inspirations, and even 6ix9ine was seen playing Speaker Knockerz music. Roddy Ricch actually spoke on the influence he takes from Speaker Knockerz in an interview, and the list goes on. Kevin Gates made a remix to one of his songs, a Teenage Kodak Black remixed his music, Lil Uzi Vert shouted him out on his song Alone Time, and Denzel Curry shouted him out on his song Naughty Head. Even young artists were influenced by Speaker Knockerz. The Kid Leroy remixed him, Lil Mosey's first flip was of a Speaker Knockerz song, Scared Money, and Lil Tecca made a post to commemorate him. All because when Speaker Knockerz was coming up, he was one of one, literally. So it's safe to say Speaker Knockerz was wildly ahead of his time, influential, and respected. So what happened? You're probably wondering why Speaker Knockerz himself didn't become a mainstream star, right? Well, unfortunately, on March 6th of 2014, Speaker Knockerz was found lying on the ground in his garage, right next to his Camaro, of what seemed to be a substance-related overdose. The week before, his family members were worried that he'd gone missing. Knockerz was a very private guy. He'd go on without answering his phone to focus on his music, but after days, his family knew something was up, and his mother put out a statement on social media. His family turned out to be right. The saddest part was Speaker Knockerz wasn't living a fast life. Before he passed, he was actually depressed because his girlfriend was cheating on him, and he lived a quiet life for the most part, choosing to focus on his craft. After the tragic incident, tons of rappers paid their respect, like Soulja Boy and Fetty Wap. To me, Speaker Knockerz still being alive is one of the biggest what-ifs in modern rap. He left before he could see the real fruits of his labor and the influence he would have. If he had stayed alive, who knows where he could have taken his career? Unfortunately, we'll never know. In this Reddit post, the fan said, if Speaker Knockerz came up during this era, he'd be a legend just like XXXTentacion, Juice WRLD, and Pop Smoke. It's even worse when you find out how hard he worked to get to where he got. Knockerz was the definition of getting it by yourself. Before everyone and their cousin did it, he used to promote himself all over YouTube, telling people to check out his new single in the comments section, before bots and automation tools, hundreds and hundreds of times, spending hours doing it himself by hand. Sadly, today, a lot of fans don't know or remember Speaker Knockerz, even though his sound is apparent everywhere. After his family was done grieving, the remaining Speaker Knockerz music was released posthumously, and his family is still trying to send his unreleased beats to whoever wants them. The final rapper who was ahead of their time is none other than Lil B. In 2017, an article read, Lil B, one of the most prolific rappers of the internet age. And in the early to mid 2010s, people did recognize that Lil B was somewhat influential. However, recently, it seems like everyone has forgotten about Lil B. So let's get into it. Based in Berkeley, California, Lil B began releasing mixtapes in 2007, starting slow, but pretty soon, and by that I mean the very next year, he began releasing hundreds and hundreds of songs, something completely foreign at the time, through the 155 MySpace accounts he created, his unique way of marketing himself. And after that came the rapid release of mixtapes, 12 in 2010, 10 in 2011, and 17 in 2012. So in a genre where at the time lyrical ability and quality were highly scrutinized, Lil B took the quantity over quality method and took flooding the market to a whole different level. So that's cool, right? But what about him made him so influential and ahead of his time, other than how consistent he was? Well, Lil B was innovative and influential all around. He was a trendsetter, and in many ways, the whole idea of the modern internet rapper was created by him. Think of all the trends in rap over the last 5-ish years: distorted bass, think XXXTentacion, Ski Mask the Slump God, and Death Grips, ad-libs, the Migos, positive rap, Chance the Rapper, I Love McConan, wearing feminine clothing, Young Thug, A$AP Rocky, Lil Peep. They all started with Lil B, and it began with how he viewed music, completely different from the status quo. For example, he didn't care about lyrics like rappers normally did at all, and sometimes his songs wouldn't even make sense. At the time, people didn't get it, but today, it's the status quo, where the listener's attention span lasts a couple minutes, and rap music relies less and less on lyrics and more on the vibe the music gives and the general feel to create an atmosphere, if that makes sense. Which is what rappers like Lil Pump literally blew up off of. Furthermore, the offbeat rap that is popular today with rappers like Blueface and TjX6 was being done by Lil B a decade ago. But it didn't stop there. Lil B was arguably the first meme rapper. Today, being based means something else, but it originated with Lil B. And before that, his fans would say, "Thank you, Bass God," or "OMG, Bass God." And he became the first rapper to blow up off of his weird image rather than music, which is how meme rappers operate. Image first, music second. He highlighted his weird traits and humor to create a character that was infuriating to older rap fans, and one way he did this was through fashion, another area where Lil B's influence is undeniable, in rap of course. He wore flowery clothes, oversized jewelry, and skinny jeans, which weren't normal fashion choices, especially then. For example, on ESPN, he wore a dress and a granny hat. Before Lil B, not many rappers were willing to show their feminine side. It used to be taboo for any guy, let alone a rapper, to call themselves pretty. But today, no one blinks an eye when rappers like Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Yachty, 6ix9ine, Lil Peep, RIP, and any other rappers do it. But aside from his fashion and image, how artists market themselves is where Lil B's influence really kicks in. See, Lil B's character overgrew his actual music. "Thank you, Bass God" became a huge catchphrase all over the internet. Thank you, Bass God. He became the first to use this sort of alternative marketing. It didn't matter that his music didn't live up to the traditional means of hip-hop. Fans were drawn to his character. In fact, it outgrew his music. Followers would add "Thank you, Bass God" without ever hearing his music, still spreading his popularity. He'd get hate on purpose and became the internet's largest troll. Some fans thought it was weird, but it was really all a part of his strategy. His songs where he just says "I'm Miley Cyrus" over and over got millions of views on YouTube, while songs where he had more traditional flows and better lyrics went unnoticed. It was like a weird internet marketing funnel. His memey music would catch your attention, pique your interest, and his less popular music would convert you into a fan. And whether it was on purpose or not, it was definitely genius and worked. When Lil B was at his peak, if you weren't based, it was hard trying to understand him and his music. Old heads and outsiders who didn't understand his art were confused as to why people were enjoying his music and taking this dude seriously. Either you thought he was the GOAT or his music was trash. There was no in between. At the time, people didn't know if he was trolling or what trolling was, and took everything he did at face value, not seeing that he was just getting people worked up for a reaction, which in hindsight Pretty smart. And this strategy really went on to influence how the next generation of artists marketed themselves, which is seen by a positive or negative based on who you ask. In fact, when Lil B was coming up, the idea of promoting yourself and gaining a career over the internet was never done before and seemed impossible. Lil B was the first to shatter that belief, as he did what he did independent of a record label on the internet with his own DIY approach, which is what happened years later with the SoundCloud generation. And due to all of this, Lil B's influence stretched deep. In January of 2013, LA Weekly named Lil B the most important rapper of the decade so far. A decade later, this little blog was correct. Even Kendrick Lamar shouted him out, saying, "You and Wayne most influential. Thank you, Bass God." So when Kendrick Lamar mentioned your name in the same sentence as Lil Wayne, when talking about influence, it's hard to argue. But other than Kendrick Lamar, the list of rappers that Lil B influenced and got respect from is crazy. A teenage Playboi Carti tweeted, "Lil B, woo," and "I still mess with Lil B." Chief Keef tweeted, "My guy Bass God. This stuff ain't for anybody, and he reached out to me back in 2011. So you know what's real, dog." Lil Uzi Vert tweeted, "At Lil B the Bass God, I got a song that's gonna be huge, and if it wasn't for Lil B, it wouldn't exist. Thank you, Bass God." And he said that Lil B taught him how to rap. Wiz Khalifa tweeted, "Protect Lil B at all costs." Young Thug tweeted his lyrics. Chance the Rapper tweeted about a song he made with him. And Metro Boomin tweeted, "Lil B is responsible for a lot of careers, man. A true hip-hop pioneer." The list goes on. Lil Yachty, Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, Juicy J, Diddy, even classic rappers like DMX spoke about Lil B, and Nas reached out to collaborate. But even more impressive than the respect and influence he had on his peers in hip-hop was his influence in pop culture, which hasn't really been seen by any other rapper since his popularity dropped off, in my opinion. The most notable being Katy Perry wearing a dress with a picture of Lil B at a Miley Cyrus concert. It was the most high-profile endorsement of the Bass God. At the time, Katy Perry was one of the most famous people in the world. She had the most followed Twitter account, and this endorsement was just a big deal. But it didn't stop there. In Justin Bieber's All I Want for Christmas Is You remake video, Bieber briefly broke into the cooking dance, Lil B's signature move. And by the way, Lil B's cooking dance served as a predecessor to Ray Shrummer's Black Beatles, which blew up off of its own stunt, the Mannequin Challenge. The late Mac Miller was also one of the most outspoken, high-profile fans and devotees of Lil B, producing for him. And on a nationally televised performance with Ariana Grande on NBC's Today, he said, "Thank you, Bass God," while staring straight into the camera. Even Drake took to Instagram with the caption, "Bass." And when Lil Wayne dropped his comeback project, Sorry for the Wait, he invited Lil B to be featured on it, and gave Lil B a shout out on the outro for another tape on the song Love. More than the mainstream, Lil B also laid the groundwork for awkward or unique flows and no lyrical emphasis that is normal for SoundCloud rappers today. Influencing cloud rappers like Six Dogs, Young Lean, and more, Lil B's flow just worked, and his out-of-pocket flow influenced Young Lean on songs such as Ginsex Strip 2002, when Lean was a big fan. Even the notorious hater Joe Budden gave Lil B his flowers. That's how you know he was influential. But today, the respect for Lil B has all but evaporated. So what happened? It actually started when Lil B got sucker punched in the face, and it kind of ruined his career, because back then, that was something that people really cared about. And he was forced to somewhat go into a hiatus after that. To add to his misfortune, Lil B had plenty of missed opportunities that in hindsight, due to his I don't care attitude and just how he was as a person, fell through. For example, he was supposed to perform at the Grammys, but he said he didn't see the email because he doesn't check his email, a side effect of not having a team. And because his music was so off-kiltered, not many rappers actually wanted to collaborate with him. So today, he's barely remembered by fans. He could have blown up if a label took his stuff and packaged it, but he released his music for free, and eventually people copied him and became bigger. And if he had come out a bit later, things may have been different. Recently, he's still an internet legend of course. Lil B hasn't been up to much. He went viral on TikTok for his song Swag Like Ohio, and appeared in a Lyrical Lemonade video. But that's not much considering how influential he was in his prime. Overall, Lil B changed the way younger artists viewed hip-hop, where an aggressive social media presence is a must. Music is being packaged on the daily and being put out like crazy. Lil B created that blueprint. In 2021, Complex interviewed Lil B and asked him, "When all is said and done, what do you hope your impact will be? Not only on hip-hop music, but on this earth?" He responded by saying, "So what's Lil B's impact? What Lil B is gonna do for the world is love, man. Love unconditionally. It brings tears to my eyes because I love this world so much. I love you all. You all gotta understand that." Lastly, I just want to say Lil Wayne is definitely the most influential rapper of all time. Thanks for watching. My name is Rashad Fashir. Have a nice day and see you next time.